What do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! My God!
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
Hey, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you're doing it with, however good it feels, whyever you're doing, and however many times you plan on doing it after the show. I'm glad you're here now. Welcome to Legal Vices. Today is day 7 afternoon of Florida v. YNW Melly, the murder trial. We will get right to that because we've got about 4 hours of stuff to get through in about 3 hours. I've got to pull the ripcord in 3 hours. So we're going to start off real quick with today's cocktail. The problem with today's cocktail is it's a little tricky to make sitting down. This is definitely a stand-up bar cocktail. Today's cocktail is the traditional Sazerac. Ordinarily used to be, nowadays they make it with rye. Traditionally, before the Civil War, it was made with cognac, but then after the Civil War, it became a little bit hard to get cognac, so they started making it out of rye. But the traditional Sazerac is what we're making today. So let's do this. Okay, and for those of you that are clipping this at home, today's cocktail is the traditional Sazerac made with cognac, absinthe, and sugar. But you want to start with 1 sugar cube or 1 teaspoon of simple syrup. Put that in some ice. Over the ice, you're going to want to put 1 ounce or 2 ounces, 2 ounces of cognac. Drop that in over the ice and the sugar or the simple syrup. And then you want 2 dashes of bitters. Just boom, boom, 2 dashes of bitters. Drop that in your cup and then mix it all up. But before you start mixing it, you want to have another glass set aside where you have put about 1/3 of an ounce of absinthe in with some ice. So you just wash the cup with the absinthe, you pour out the ice, you pour out the extra absinthe, and then you take your lovely cocktail and you strain it over the absinthe washed glass. Boom, there you go. Drop in a couple of lemon wedges or lemon peels for some garnish, and there you have the traditional Sazerac. Like you get all the cognac flavor with a little bit of the absinthe, just a hint of the absinthe on the finish. That is such a good cocktail. Great cocktail. Very heavy, very oily. So today's cocktail was the traditional cognac-based Sazerac. Delish. All right, now I've got to clean up all this little mess I've got here in front of me. Right. So, what are we doing today? Oh, let's see. We left off with Officer Super Secret Undercover Secret Agent man who wanted to testify with his mask on, his full face mask. The only thing you could see were his eyes. This is our man here. Let's see. This is how he wants to testify. Where are we? I have to bring up the little overlay for the guy. This is our super secret undercover police officer. He wants to testify with his mask on. They're trying to qualify him as an expert in gang activities. So they got him. And I think the defense was absolutely correct in objecting to him testifying with his mask on. You have a basic right under the United States Constitution to face your accuser, to look them in the eye, to see their facial expressions, to decide how much credibility you want to give them based on such things as their facial expressions. When you cover everything but your eyes, you are not equipped to fully look into their body cues. Under the mask, they could be doing and you would never know. So, I do not like the fact that the judge allowed him to testify with his mask on in front of the jury. Yes, he is an accuser. Mandy, right? He is a witness is an accuser. You have the right to cross-examine them, to confront them. They are an accuser. They are giving testimony against you, and you have a constitutional right to confront them. It is absolutely a protected right. And I think the defense lawyer was spot on when he said that you are giving the media, you are putting the media's desire to televise this trial above my client's right to confront his accuser. I think he was dead spot on with that. There was several options that could have been done. They could have, and they explored them, but the judge ultimately decided to let the people stay in, let them continue to broadcast it, let the witness testify with the mask on. They could have sent everybody in the gallery out. So it was just the judge, the lawyers, the jury, and the guy and the defendant. They could have done that. That would have been no problem. They could have done what they did in like the Zachariah Anderson trial or the Rudolph, where they just didn't show the witness. They kept it focused on the judge or on the lawyers. They didn't move the camera. They didn't show them. They could have done that, but they didn't. They could have done a number of things to protect this guy's rights and allow him to eyeball his accuser. And so they let him testify. He testified for a few minutes, and then one of the jurors sent the judge a message saying she was having problems with this guy testifying with his mask on. She said that she was having a panic attack because she had witnessed a robbery where the guy was wearing a full face mask, pretty much like the one that the witness is wearing. So one of the jurors was freaking out about the state's witness wearing a mask. And so the judge said he would talk about that after the lunch break. So we don't know how we're going to find out how that issue is resolved. He's going to talk to the juror, see if she was still having a panic attack, see if she wanted to quit being a juror, if she wanted to continue. And then the defense lawyer said they would continue their objection to him testifying with his mask on. And I completely agree with the defense's arguments in this regard. There's so many ways they could have done it as well and protected this guy's right to face his accuser. So that's where we are. Chandler will be joining us in a few minutes. She says she's running a bit late. Don't know when she'll get here, but she'll get here eventually. We'll bring her on. I don't have a poll up yet. Once the trial gets going, I'll set up the poll. Let's see, no super chats that are in here yet, so that's cool. Nothing to read there. We have 304 people, 114 likes. So again, 2/3 of you haven't done your job. Get down there, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's go to town here. There is no live trial today. They only go Monday through Thursday. The judge works on other cases on Friday. So this is our catch-up day. So we're going to catch up on the trial today, and then we'll be ready to go for the Monday morning session on Monday morning or Monday night my time. Right. So I'm sure there's some other catch-up things that I haven't talked about, but as they come to mind, I'll pause the video and we'll talk about them. One more thing, a couple of things actually. Monday, of course, will be Maritime Monday. I do my Maritime Monday every Monday? Weird, isn't it? Maritime Monday falls on a Monday every time. We will, of course, be talking more about the Titan submersible and the accident that occurred and the deaths of the 5 people on board. And, of course, the news that broke today that the United States Navy knew about it at the time it happened last Sunday. And they told the Coast Guard, and the Coast Guard sat on it and didn't release that information. And it was released only today, nearly a week after it occurred. So there are conspiracy theories, opinions, rumors, what have you, about why they waited to say. We'll talk about a few of them, but we're definitely not talking about the main one that everybody else is. But anyway, yeah, so that's we'll talk about that on Monday. And I said I was going to have a special Navy guest on to one of my very dear friends, one of my best friends on earth, actually, to talk about that and to talk about another incident he was involved in. But turns out he's been told he cannot do that as he is still on active duty. He's retiring in November. So we'll have him on November to talk about the other incident he was involved in. So we're going to delay one of my best friends on planet Earth being a guest until November. So stay tuned. Wait for 5 months and he'll be here. Righto. Good morning, Flux. Good to see you here. Lamau. And that the Navy knew it was crushed, right? Okay. I got nothing else to talk about. So cool. We can jump right into this. Like I said, we've got to get through 4 hours of testimony in 3 hours. We're going to be doing a 1.25 speed, which will make that possible. And we may even finish a little bit early because This is sidebar central, this trial. There's a sidebar every 10 minutes. They take long breaks. So we might be actually finish a little bit early. And hey, stop criticizing the people here, would you? Stop criticizing the submersible CEO crew and people. They did an admirable job. They crushed it.
And these are approximately 300 images that I was able to put together.
Okay. There's one thing we need to talk about.
There are some that...
All right. They want to introduce this into evidence. They want what the state has to prove right now. They've got this phone. This is the phone that has been put at the scene of the murder. Within 15 minutes of the time going to the hospital, this phone and another phone were together. They have to time this phone to the murder, and then they have to tie this phone to the defendant. They had to prove this was his phone. The phone is registered to Sack Chaser. Not necessarily registered to him, but when you go to your main screen, it'll say the phone's name up there. It's the name is Sack Chaser. So Sack Chaser's name is on the phone, but the prosecution is arguing that it is the defendant's phone. They need to tie this phone to him because this phone was at or very, very near the place of the murder at or very, very near the time the murders occurred. And so that's what they're working. They have to get this evidence in. They have to tie this phone to him. So that's what she's trying to do. She's going through and she's going to say, okay, I'm going to walk you through what is on this phone. We're going to walk through pictures. There's a bunch of selfies. There's a bunch of videos of him. So that proves it's his phone. And she mentioned before that there's text messages between the defendant and his mother on this phone. So they're going to do their best to tie this to the defendant so that they can bring it in as evidence. And that's what she's trying to do here. She's trying to argue to the judge that there is enough evidence on this phone to at least very heavily, substantially prove that this is his phone and should be allowed in as evidence.
It will only show on the computer here because it has the specific codec that is required. But in each of these images, there are 300 of them that I can go through that show the defendant on Facebook.
Looks like we have no subtitles available for this yet.
Go through them individually and show.
Now, the subtitles are weird. They're automatically generated subtitles, as you can tell, because clearly no one is responsible for the Wild West word salad that comes out of these things. So they're automatically generated, and it takes anywhere from 24 to 48 hours for them to pop up after the trial. I don't know why they don't stay with it, but they don't. So they're not available yet. Sorry, people. We're just going to have to suffer through this wondering what they're saying. Of course, if you read the subtitles, if you read the closed caption, you still don't really know what they're saying because a lot of times they have nothing to do with it. All right, let's put this on 1.25 speed and go.
So that they are on in front of the device itself. So the report that's up on the screen now, Your Honor, will show that sometimes images are sent to the defendant. For example, this picture here, which is the photograph of the defendant and his mother. That was an attachment.
That's the defendant's mother?
To that particular phone. Now, that to be contrasted.
Okay. Milk.
For example.
All right. Okay, cool. Nice mob, bro. All right, so there's a bunch of selfies of him on the phone.
This image here, which is showing
those aren't really selfies.
The actual phone itself.
Okay, so those aren't selfies. Those are pictures of him taken by someone else. Are they taken by the phone's owner?
This is DCIN.
I got to think about this we have to look at this from the defense's perspective. Is this showing that it is his phone? No, it shows that somebody else is taking pictures. Somebody likes him. It's his best friend, whoever is taking pictures of him on the phone. These aren't selfies. These are pictures of him.
100 Apple. This is being taken on an Apple iPhone XS Max, which is the phone that the defendant was using, that is attached to that 772-713-9807. So in total, Brenda, this is just 300 of there's 10,000 images on the phone in total. And this isn't even talking about any of the videos, of which there are many videos on there that also show the defendant on that. You have photos of
showing him does not mean it's his. See, these are all pictures of him and videos of him. Okay, there's one picture of him.
There are selfies.
That's a selfie.
There are images that are taken from various phone conversations in which he is doing a FaceTime. For example, this one right here, if it ends in .png, Your Honor, that is indicative and can be testified to that is a screenshot. When an iPhone takes a screenshot or a capture of whatever is on the screen, then that's going to be a .png format. So that's what we have here. In this one, you have a photo of the defendant in the small top of the screen, showing that he's the person making the phone call, and then the person he's speaking to on the video chat, his little brother, is there on the water phone. So here's another example of that, and this also shows that the defendant made FaceTime video calls as his regular course of conduct, which goes to show and explain why, for example, there's not a data call, there's data used, but not a cell phone or a CDR. Here's another one of the defendant.
Dang it, I'm trying to edit the banner. Every time I sneeze,
LTE network,
it goes back to the way it was.
The records custodian testified to and are in evidence. So that is just one example. I have the full printout of what I just showed.
Okay, so that wasn't too persuasive to me.
As well.
That was not particularly persuasive to me. I don't know how it was to you guys. Chandler's in the background. We'll bring her up in just a quick second. She has arrived. She has decided to grace us with her presence on this Friday evening for me, Friday morning for her. I'm just fixing the banner here. All righty. We have today's Vice Rack so far is K-Tribe with the US $5 $4.99 super chat. It was $5, but iPhone somehow, for some reason, always takes off 1 penny. So let's hang on. What's going on here? Oh, yay! I'm so happy. The StreamYard automatic thingy is back. The automatic super chat starring thing. Flux said it was back, and I was happy about that, but now I have actually confirmed it is back. So, hey, I won't miss your super chats anymore because they've gone back to automatically starring them. And K-Tribe dropping the $4.99 super chat to break off the very, very first super chat of the day. Good morning and happy Friday. Good evening from Korea and happy Friday to you. It is a Sazerac Friday for me, so effing cheers on that. But you know what? As I said, you had to wash the glass and dispose of the absinthe. We dispose of nothing. No waste around here. We will be consuming the absinthe. Probably if we ever get a $100 super chat, we'll just throw back the absinthe because that's how I roll. And speaking of that's how people roll, it's Chandler Remington. Good morning, Chandler Remington.
Good evening, Legal Vices.
What up?
Not much. I'm up.
Well, that was anticlimactic. Okay, cool. Well, we have just started, so I don't know if you heard anything.
I did.
But okay, good.
I was listening, yes.
I was going to assume. And everybody, Chandler is just a few hours away from a brand new microphone.
Yes, I am. I'm very excited. It's getting delivered at, 10 p.m. at the latest.
Oh,
so
at the latest? I think it's going to be after 10 p.m.
I mean, I'm doing like 4 streams today, including this one, and I was going on Hayden's later, and I don't think I'm going to get the new one in time for all the streams I'm doing today, unfortunately.
And yes, Aussie Overlord Hayden, he's sleeping the sleep of the just right now. In exactly 10 and a half hours from now, he's going to be starting a 24-hour stream. I don't know why. Oh, it's to raise funds for his trip to Anime Matsuri in August. So everybody, 10 and a half hours from now, swing on by and help him out for 24 hours. I'll be on there very, very early because I'm going to fuck off and go camping very shortly after he starts. I got to go make steak the manly way. We don't need no stovetops. We don't need no toaster ovens. We just need fire and whiskey and salt and pepper. Man meat.
I was about to say that sounds delicious, but I'm not going to say that now.
My man meat is delicious. It's 3 pounds. 3 pounds of medium rare man meat. That's what I got for you.
Jeff. Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to be doing. So, and Following this stream, this is why we have to do this all in 3 hours, 2.5 now. Thanks, because I can't shut up. 2.5 hours from now, Chandler and I will be on Eric Hunley's Friday stream. You're not going to want to miss that. You never want to miss that. That's always a good place to be. And while you're here, make sure you fly on over to Remy_legal and like Chandler Remington's videos and subscribe to her channel. And like and subscribe to me, people. There's 500 of you watching and only 176 likes. Shame, shame, shame. Get down there and smash that like button.
You know you want
and
to.
while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you already have, make sure you are still subscribed. We're gaining subscribers quite well these days. Currently, we're at 30,771.
Nice.
Let's get us up to, we only need 29 more to get to 37,800. Let's get to 37,800. 29 more subscribers. That's all I'm asking for this stream. All right, that's enough of that shilling shit. Let's get back to doing this. Let's find out. Because like I said, I was not impressed with this. This does not show me that that is his cell phone definitively.
No, I don't think so either.
There was lots and lots of pictures of him. There was a couple of selfies and a couple of FaceTime things. But that they've always said this phone has been passed around people as late to different people. Different people have used it. And I'm not sure if it's his phone or someone else's phone was used as recently as 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. But we do have an update here to make. So let me see, as they say in Korea. K-Tribe was our vice racks for a matter of moments. I don't think we'll just let your name scroll by here at least once. Huge thanks to today's vice racks, K-Tribe for the US $4.99. Well, after that, we had an amendment because Marv White dropped $5, a full 1 cent more. So Marv White becomes the new law racks of the day, the vice racks of the day.
Yeah, sorry, K-Tribe, you got beat out by a penny.
Yeah, but let's wait till we see Marv White's name scroll by here. Super huge thanks to today's vice racks, Marv White with a $5 super chat, who said, "My turn to take the top spot by 1 cent?" ? Yep. Yes, but sorry. Nicholas beat you out with 100 sexy money. Absinthe, if you like to wake up in strange places. Did I ever tell my brother's absinthe story?
I don't think I've heard it.
I should tell my brother's absinthe story sometime because it literally is waking up in a strange place story. Perhaps at the next break, somebody remind me to tell my brother's absinthe story. It's pretty funny for me.
I want to hear it.
All right.
I'm curious.
And once I figure out what 100 sexy money is worth in US dollars, I'll put that up. So, all right, let's go with this. Let's see, because I don't think this shows this is his cell phone. There's pictures of him. There's just a couple of selfies, but they said there's 300 pages, and they're just showing us examples. But if those are their examples, they're not very good examples. JKD Buck 76 says, "What if you go camping and see some inbred-looking kid with a banjo? Hey, I'll play right along with him. You're turning around and going back home. Hell no, we're gonna do a jam. We'll jam. I'll just whip out my guitar and we'll jam. I like inbred-looking hillbillies and kids with banjos because that's kind of me. All right, let's go.
There's more. Yes.
Well, maybe should we take the arguments piecemeal, or I'm sorry. What is?
Oh, interesting. It sounds like the defense is going to go after this piecemeal, which I mean, he's saying, look, we're just not going to let this whole thing in. You can't just put in the USB drive or your whatever the hell your record is from the download of this phone. You have to justify each and every single piece of evidence. Each and every individual one of these pictures you have to show is relevant to the crime, and he's going to object to every single picture on this 300-page printout. This could be interesting. Holy F. Maybe that's why they were saying this witness is going to take a long time. Holy crap. All right, let's see what happens.
This is a different...
Those are the 300 photos that I provided to Your Honor. Yes, that is now showing the path of the directory location where each and every one of those photos was found, whether it was came to the device as something that was sent to the device as an attachment on a message, or whether it was actually created by one of the devices themselves.
And how about the time of the murder in question?
There are images that predate that, including, and then there are text messages and conversations that are done at or about the time of the murder, including conversations with the defendant's mother. So for example, I'll show Your Honor now what has been extracted from that same cell phone. And this is also information that predates the murder. So there's no reason or motive to lie or anything at that point, because at this point, the victims are still alive. And so we also then have the defendant's conversations before and after, which show the same
giant touch monitor.
Way he is communicating on these, which show that he is the individual that had control of that phone at the time. So I'm going to start, and I appreciate the result on this one.
You know the best way to see if your man meat is done, don't you?
A phone number that is identified as.
Your Honor, before we continue, I would respectfully suggest that we take my retort to their argument piecemeal so that we don't lose the significance of each.
She's going to, counsel's going to proceed with her argument, and you'll get a chance to speak.
So we have, this is prior to the homicide, this is.
Okay, so we went from pictures and videos and selfies to texts. Let's see what these texts say. PFUS just dropping the $10, beating out Nicholas by about 78 cents, I think, to take the position of Vice Racks of the Day. PFUS, PFUSy, getting that PFUSy. Here we go. Thank you. Welcome. Let's do it. We'll throw you on up there, and let's see how this goes. Is this going to be enough to tie this phone to him? Text messages from somebody to somebody else.
It's going to be August 30th of 2018. The phone number 772-501-6942 that's said to a crazy lady. Again, we'll get into why it's a B shortly with the next witness.
Crazy lady. Uh-oh. Now, okay. Oh, this is the defendant's mother. Okay. It's a conversation between somebody and the defendant's mother, who is Brazy Lady, because remember, that's gang speak. Apparently they are reportedly in some sort of relationship with the Bloods. I only know the motorcycle club culture. I don't know how this, I don't know if you call them prospects or what. I don't know if they're full members of the Bloods, or if they're just whatever you would call a gang version of a prospect in a motorcycle club. But that's part of the deal. You have to change the C's to B's, because C's are for Crips and the B's are for Blood. So Crazy Lady becomes Brazy Lady. So the defendant's mother is named Brazy Lady on this phone, and they're getting text messages from somewhere.
Because if you go to state 63 on the subscriber records, that was the other phone number that is subscribed to Miss Jamie King at that time. Additionally, defense counsel provided Jamie King's records to the state to show that that is her phone number and represented it as such. So this is discussions and where he is calling her mom about and talking about the argument and the fight between the defendant, Sack Chaser, and as he referred to it, this bottom message, where she is talking to Mr. Demmons about that person, showing that it is not Sack that is on the other end of this line or this particular.
Okay, because remember, the phone, the name on the phone, like on the you know, is the name, like when you first get a phone, you have to put in your name, was Sack Chaser, not the defendant.
Phone call. Moving on, and then we also have where a discussion, this is still August 30th, and talking about how I don't know what all going on. He's talking, making a live video talking about your mother. It's going to make people hate you. That's why I have never and would never do that. I love you. And that's your best friend. This is not for social media. And
Sorry,
then,
hold on a second.
sure.
Can you repeat that, please?
Of course.
Yeah, what?
Sure. So if you go through this whole conversation here, starting with, how is this sister going on social media talking about punching me in face, my fault, from the individual that's been identified as Jamie King by the phone records, by the subscriber records that are in evidence already. Then going on to reply is, you started it by texting his mama. It's going to be problems, and not even knowing what you're talking about. You a grown-ass lady doing childish shit. Ain't nobody tell you to text her. She minding her business, going to work, you effing with her. The response then, she could have called me or texted me.
Okay, so it seems like this is a conversation between the defendant and his mother about somebody else's mother. Okay. All right, let's see what it says.
Me back, not have you or daughter all on social media talking about fighting me like I cussed at her. I didn't even say one cuss word when I texted her.
All right, this is 2 months. This is
disrespectful.
August
No.
30th. This is
I
2
wish you
months
took
before
up
the
for
murder.
me like that when
The
he
murders
cussed
occurred
me
on
out and tried to
October
fight me.
26th. Let's keep that in
Again,
mind.
this is
talking about a fight
Williams
that took place
on that.
2
So,
months
like I said
before the
before,
murder. This is
the
irrelevant.
next message on August 30th I don't know what's all going on. He's talking about making a live video, talking about your mother. It's going to make people hate you. That's why I have never and would never do that, because I love you and that's your best friend. This is not for social media. So continuing on, next page. In this particular page, this is again referring to these social media conversations.
Well, you know I love
on
Sazerac.
that with regards to Anthony Williams and the defendant's mother. So for here, no, I'm not. Your actions I take up for you. I have people telling me your son doesn't care about you.
It's pronounced
That
behandler. Thank you very
mother
much.
is Jamie King.
Behandler.
Here she is identifying that she is speaking to her son in that. So then I want to go then to after the time of the homicide,
Okay.
in which Jamie King is sending a text message to her son, send me your location. I'm in Stewart. I love you so much. He then sends a return the location.
Well, now, see, come on. They're saying after the homicides. What does that mean? Tell us what the dates are. What do you mean after the homicides? And it's interesting they didn't call them murders. They called them homicides. Why is this on 360 on potato cam setting? I want to embiggen this and see if I can see the date and time on this. 10:20.
Our resolution would be better for that little text. Very small.
Yeah, 10:27 at 3:40 a.m. 10:27 at 3:40 a.m. So this would have been just after the murders then.
Okay.
Huh. No, it would have been a day after. This is weird. Because it happened early morning on the 26th. The murders happened early morning on the 26th. So this is very early morning on the 27th. So a little more than 24 hours after the murders. And Danny Connolly says, you know how many selfies of my 6-year-old daughter are on my phone? A ton. That's all she does if she gets her hands on it. It's not proof, it's her phone. Exactly. Stephen Cooper making my life complicated with the $10.01 chat. Happy Friday. Well, happy Friday to you, Cooper. Vice Racks of the day. We'll get around to that here in just a minute.
Everybody wants to be Vice Racks. Everybody.
So, again, more text between the defendant and his mother about 24 hours after the murders occurred.
Location showing at or about the time of the crime as to who was using and doing that. Okay.
Oh, don't do that to me, please.
Love you again from Jamie King. I'm at your gate. I'm going to get the trash. The next response is bring Mariah, which you honored already. All
right. That's why.
Her testimony that Felicia Holmes, her daughter, Mariah Hamilton, was in a dating relationship with this defendant, and that at this time.
Really? Is that what we're going to do? All right, let's.
And that there was conversation.
Let's go back to real time for a bit. Let's buffer
Mariah
up a little bit.
Mariah Hamilton. Then there is okay. It continues.
Sorry.
He then asks his mother to buy him a Glock ASAP and telling her, like, go now. So she then responds, okay, what's wrong? She says, I got your 45. Then his response, I just don't want no illegal gun. Well, that's not illegal. Continuing on, but I'd rather have a Glock 40.
Oh, that's bad.
Or
yeah.
All right.
That's not good. Wait, what kind of weapon was used in the
40
case?
caliber.
Okay. Yeah. Mommy,
but this
go buy
is
me a
after
gun?
the murders, though. This is after the murders.
Okay.
This appears to be on the 28th.
Okay, so that does make a difference. Do you text your mom and ask her to buy you a gun? I mean, who does that? Go buy your own gun. You're an adult.
My mom would if I asked her to. Well, I mean, if she was still alive and I asked her. So this is why do these conversations happen in the middle of the night? The other one was on the 27th was at 2:40. This is on the 28th at 2:17 a.m. So I don't know. Why is all this shit happening? Nothing good ever happens after midnight, people. Go home. So 2 days after he's asking for a gun. So I mean, that again, I don't know.
I'm not sure how to feel about this either.
Okay, what I will say, this is my take right now. This is my interim take.
Okay.
If this goes in, he's doomed. If this cell phone record goes in, he's done. He's toast. Because I mean he's sitting here texting his mother about going and buying me a gun. No, not that gun. I want that gun. That's kind of pretty. Adding all of this, hey, Mom, will you go buy me a gun? Her sending him messages, his pictures all over the damn phone. If this comes in, I think that is sufficient to tie him to this phone. Yeah. And the jury is going to see this and go, he wanted a 40 millimeter Glock. I think we remember gun guy testifying there was 40 caliber. Shells found in here. But again, is the jury going to be able to go, okay, wait a minute, this is 2 days after? Or are they going to go, wait a minute, this is his phone. There's pictures of him. They're talking about his mama bringing him a gun and not paying attention. I just think if this comes in, he's doomed.
So this is all being presented outside of the presence of the jury right now? Okay.
Yep, the jury hasn't seen it yet. They're arguing whether this comes in as evidence to prove this is his phone. Not for the truth of the matter, but to show that this is his cell phone.
I think that to prove it's his phone, you have to show consistent use over time and lack of an indication that there was another user.
They're kind of doing that here.
Yeah.
2 months before the murder, 1 day after, 2 days after, and he's asking for a 40 millimeter. Yikes. This is not good.
Yeah, I mean, opposing counsel would have to come up with there's other stuff on this phone that's it shows way more consistent with a different user of the phone.
Let's see what they come up with.
Yeah, I'm curious.
She says, okay. His response is, I'll pay you when you get down here. She then says, okay. Then...
Your Honor, I object to this. Is she going to read the entire phone? This does not go to the heart of her objection. This is being done for the cameras.
Counsel, I asked her to put on a proffer of what she anticipated, is what she's telling me and how it's relevant. Go ahead.
Continuing on, there's been discussions about other witnesses. I'm waiting on track to cash at me the $1,000. And then she asks, is someone threatening you?
$1,000 for a Glock 40?
No,
is that what guns cost in America now?
This is his mother that he's talking to.
I wouldn't know. I live in California.
I'm not scared. Just listen. This is clear proof and evidence that this is Jamel Dimmon's phone because he is speaking with his mother.
I kind of got to agree with her.
Yeah.
So on the
and I don't agree it's being done for the cameras.
It shows November 3rd, 2018. Love you too, Ma, and yes, son. On that.
Yeah, that's his phone.
Identifying that is the phone that is being used by
this is coming in.
Yeah.
And that is on the subscriber.
I'm calling it now.
However,
the jury will find him guilty.
In addition,
I know I never do that, and I say we should never do that, and it's horrible to do that.
About
you think this changes everything?
Yeah, that's a big piece
of
evidence.
Send a photo of his driver's license to someone to be able to authenticate.
Yeah, sending pictures of his driver's license also a bad thing.
In terms of
that's
going through
that's not good.
And even has so much as puts the address of 805 Northeast 4th Avenue.
What's the date of that, Counsel?
That one is September 28th of 2018.
Okay, so that's a month before the murder.
Has previously been to the studio and knows that. Also talks, and this is a conversation with Adrian.
Now, see, the messages being irrelevant, it's not the point. The point is to show this is his phone. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to show this is his phone. And they're showing all of these messages that were started up to 2 months before the murders to after the murders and all points in between, along with pictures and videos of him, selfies and FaceTime screen captures of him. It's his phone.
Were they claiming previously that the phone belonged to another specific, particular identifiable person?
Well, like I said, when you turn on your phone, it has your name at the top, or like when you connect it to things, your phone's name. It's Sack Chaser. So it's not. I don't know. I can't remember who they said it was registered to, but the name on the phone is Sack Chaser.
I wonder if he did that on purpose to create some kind of. I don't
Who
know,
knows?
but so if this
But
is
it's his
his phone, then it places the phone at the scene.
Within 15 minutes of him not being there when it pulls up to the hospital. The last time this phone and the other phone coincided was about 15 minutes before driving up to the hospital.
Right. So if it's his phone and the phone was at the scene, then it puts him at the scene.
And don't forget, we saw the video of them leaving the studio and him getting into the back driver's side seat where they're saying the shots were fired from and a 40 millimeter casing was found.
Wow, so this changes everything then. I mean, it's interesting because I have agreed with the defense on pretty much everything, but the idea that they're doing this for the cameras I think is absurd. I think this is very, very important evidence.
Yes, this is pivotal evidence. If this gets in, I think he's toast.
Yeah, this is the
Charlie
linchpin.
Houston says, I'd say he's phobicked.
Thanks.
What do you say, behandler?
Thank you, Barley Houston. Appreciate
Now
that.
I regret not having a C in my name.
Well, you can be Legal Vibes.
Yeah, I'm Legal Vibes, baby.
You are. I pointed that out yesterday, and you conveniently ignored it.
Well, welcome. It's Friday. Hey, ladies, welcome to Legal Vibes. We'll see what we can do here for you. Let's take a little drink, slip into something a little more comfortable. Yeah, baby. All right.
Wow, your whole radio voice thing is just...
Sit back. Relax. Have yourself a little champagne box wine if that's what you're into, but relax. We're going to get our legal vibes on here.
Wow, Jeff.
Let's go. Sorry. All right, ladies, are we ready?
That was impressive.
Yeah. I'm done talking about my man meat. Don't worry about that. I'll be sure to upload pictures of my man meat from the campfire tomorrow. Ladies, don't miss
I would tell you to behave, but it's your channel, so I can't really scold you.
All right, we'll be distributing mops in the hallway later.
Oh my god.
In which he is using this phone, sending in pictures of his driver's license from this phone. And some of the other pictures and items that Your Honor has in front of you, there's
I'm sorry to all 700 people watching.
front and back with the defendant's name on them.
Sending front and back photos of credit cards is also bad. It's your phone, bro.
That show that this phone was being used by the defendant, Jamel Demmons.
Pretty good evidence. Pretty solid.
Yeah, it's his phone. It's coming in. He's fucked. He's fucked.
Definitely
fucked. The defendant is seen on camera in possession of a phone as he is leaving the studio.
Juror X, we're going to be on the prosecution's case for at least a month. Well into July, the prosecution will still be giving their case.
That phone then tracks, and you can follow on all of the all detailed records and all of the mapping that was done and put in yesterday to show that this phone goes from the studio and is consistent with the phone of Anthony Williams, which is the other phone that's on there on T-Mobile, and all the way out to the scene of the crime. Then it continues.
And Sebastian Muller gifted 10 Legal Vices memberships about 30 minutes ago. So if you're one of the lucky recipients, make sure you give Sebastian Muller a super big thanks gift for being a mensch.
To the hospital, and that is what is consistent with that, and they are recovered at that location.
Oh, Sebastian is a total Ben.
Counsel, I don't understand.
I keep putting B's and everything, damn it.
That would put a different name on the text message.
Okay, so he's asking why is there different names? This is the good question. Why is there a different name? Why is Sack Chaser's name on the messages and not the defendant's if it's the defendant's phone? Good question, Judge. It's kind of a boomery question, but it's a good question.
So in terms of that, if there is any time that anybody else has used the phone for whatever purpose on that, if they have logged in on a other social media account, that could put that name on there. However, it is who was using the phone at the time that is important. And so this and all of the information and everything
That's not us either.
show that it was
What the hell?
defendant.
This is day 7.
And by the defense suggesting it was not, that makes even more items relevant to show.
You didn't answer the judge's question.
Defense counsel brought up and showed images of a very intimate nature that were shown of the defendant.
What?
The contention that
sex videos.
Photos of
Sounds like Richard portraits.
By friends and other people.
Jody Harris's butthole pics.
So just the conversations that you have read as well include
I hope they're not
pictures
going to
of
show
the
them.
defendant, and those are in there with other people in which he is acknowledging interaction with them and the contents of the photos. Those individuals are the ones who are identified as the gang members that he is associated with.
Thank you. Anything else?
Defense. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Lazy Petta loves when you get a legal vibey with this.
What we have said,
That could be like a regular
which
thing.
is the gravamen of our objection.
Okay, before he gets into this, real quickly, I just want to stop this, and I don't want to get too far off the track. So let's focus on what the defense lawyer is gonna. I mean, this is pretty damning. That's his phone. He said some bad shit.
Yep.
He wanted it for protection 2 days after his
Best friend?
I hope that's best friend, boyfriend, whatever. Hey, it's 2023 and Pride Month. So whatevs. He wanted to protect the day his BF was killed. Easy to explain away. It is, but we're not talking about see, that's the thing. This is why it is incredibly damaging if this gets in. Because they're going to say what the text says is not important.
Yeah.
This is just the evidence that it's his phone. Ignore what the text says, but the jury's going to be, wait a minute, he's asking for guns of the exact same type where casings were found, and they're not going to go, wait a minute, this was 2 days before the murder. That's why, exactly what you're saying. That is why this is a bad thing for him if this comes in.
Definitely.
And Andrew Hansen with another $5 super chat. I now think this guy did it, but the prosecutor is dirty as phobic as well. Well, and let's see what magic the defense lawyer can manage to save his ass.
Is that this phone
Flux sold another painting? Sweet.
By others as well. First question.
Congrats.
The court put to the state was, how come it says Sack Chaser Howard? I was told that was the nickname of one of the decedents.
Yes.
The state's answer is, I don't know. And that answer is not good enough. The court circled back to that question and asked, and the state just said, I don't know if you, on Celebrite, it might capture it like that with T-Mobile, and it could capture it like that if anybody else ever uses the phone, ever. That, first of all, she's not an expert. We have not heard testimony to that effect. And if she's offering testimony as to how a phone can get identified by a certain moniker that is not the defendant's, and her answer is, I think that that's how it might be if somebody used it ever, would run in direct contravention of this notion that he used the phone exclusively. So the state is conceding, right? It's very contention that somebody else used that phone. They're just saying, I don't know when, and I don't know how the name got there. If what the state says is true, that if somebody uses it once, it will thereafter identify the phone as that person's name forever, we would need an expert to say that, not Ms. Bradley, somebody who actually has knowledge about it.
Good argument.
It would also be curious that if several other social media accounts and what have you are being accessed by Mr. Demons, how come the multitude of times that he has accessed these accounts did not cause the phone to affix his name to that phone? Again, our contention is not that the phone was never used by Mr. Demons. It's that it was not exclusively used by Mr. Demons. So they wants to show that Mr. Demons used it, and they put up a screenshot of a FaceTime call showing Mr. Demons up in the top corner. That particular call, the state, by that photo, has established the foundation for that photo. The state then makes mention of Jamie King and saying that the phone number that is being communicated with in a certain message is the other phone number that was on that account. The state conceded before the break that there were several phone numbers on that account. So it's not just one, there were several. However, if for some reason this court were to find some self-authentication by reference to a person as mom, maybe that phone authentication for that particular. And I think actually the state conceded it, not on purpose, but when discussing a message, she said that's proof that that particular message or phone call was between Mr. Demons and his mother. That is how evidence works.
Yes.
Now, because she has proved that there are certain photos, and if the court knows, I mean, I have photos on my phone. Everybody here, I'm sure, has photos on their phone. It's not all of them.
Just
and a lot of some of the photos that were displayed for the court are clearly not selfies. So somebody else took the picture.
Exactly. That's what I said.
Somebody else take the picture because he was a celebrity? Did somebody else take the picture because he was a friend? Did somebody else take a picture because it was one of the people that he associates with, that he's friends with, that takes a picture of him because they're hanging out?
Yeah.
That does not establish that
The
it's his
defense
phone.
lawyer, you got messages back and forth with his
As a matter
mom,
of fact, it
you've got
puts
his
the phone in
driver's
somebody
license,
else's
his
hand
credit card
at the very
pictures.
moment that picture is being taken. So the question becomes, what is admissible? The state, if what is clear, is that for all the gang stuff that the state is now trying to seek to admit, all of this identifying information that she can point to for all these other conversations, she cannot point to for the ones that she's trying to put in that this hearing is about. So she's asking the court to extrapolate. I can prove that he had this phone in his possession sometimes, maybe a lot. I can't explain why it has somebody else's name on it. Could be any reason. And I'm going to offer my expert opinion as to why it has Sack Chaser Howard on there that I can't back up by any expert I've ever spoken to. And previously, I just told you, I don't know how it got there. Conceding that it's not in his name, that it's clearly being used by others, which she said is why Sack Chaser Howard was there, but she figures, I guess it got Sack Chaser Howard there the single time that somebody else used it. And every other time it was Mr. Demons. That's not logical. It doesn't make sense. And even if it did, the state does not have the evidence to establish that. The conversations that are at issue here are all these gang conversations that the state seeks to put in. I'm not saying that they can't authenticate and lay a proper foundation for any of those exchanges. If they can, they should do so in accordance with the rules of evidence. But they can't say, ignore the rules of evidence as to everything I want to put in because I'm going to show that he spoke to his mother on this phone and spoke to his girlfriend on this phone and spoke to his younger brother on the phone at some other time.
And send his credit card pictures from the phone and send his driver's license picture from the phone.
It's independent. Each exchange is independent because each exchange is an item of evidence that requires a foundation for its admissibility. So what we're doing is inviting error when we say, okay, we can prove some things. We can't prove the stuff that we're trying to admit, but we want you to extrapolate and infer that since this phone was in Mr. Demons' hand at some point, at a lot of points, then we get to put in everything and call it his conversations. And the state said Mr. Demons was seen leaving the studio with a phone in his hand, and that phone was tracked. How do we know that that's the phone that was tracked? How do we know that that was the phone in his hand? We do not. That is an inference they're making. It's an argument they're making, and they're entitled to make an argument if they can lay the foundation for the evidence upon which such an argument would rest. But just saying it doesn't make it so. There's nothing that identifies the phone that's seen in his hand as he walks out of that studio as the one they tracked anywhere. And, Your Honor, the problem with doing this wholesale, if this witness is going to testify to a particular exchange, lay the foundation for that exchange like every other trial that we have ever been in, instead of saying we can just obviate the need for that because the foundation is going to be laid outside the presence of the jury by hearsay from the prosecutor without a witness. And so the actual particular conversations at issue here are the gang conversations, or the purported gang conversations that the state wishes to admit through this witness. If this witness can establish them, or if the state can bring another witness in here to establish each one of those conversations as being out of the mouth of Mr. Demons or out of his fingers in a text, then they're admissible. Otherwise, they are not. And they're hearsay.
So in addition, Your Honor, I'd point out that the cell phone records that have been introduced from T-Mobile include the IMEI phone number and the MSDN, which is the identifying phone number for that phone. All of that information, again, correlates with the other information that's already been put in there showing that this phone was, in fact, Mr. Demons, including, not limited to, what the defense has also been provided, which are all of the Apple records, which showed that the defendant, on October 29th of 2018,
then a carpet for a dress?
The phone with which has been introduced into evidence, the extraction of that, and brought over all the data from the prior phone he was using on the night of the incident, which is the one that was tracked. And that is able to be seen through all of the data, and that is clear from the records from T-Mobile as well as from Apple. And those are items that are admissible as business records and are not hearsay, as we previously discussed. And that's what I have up on the screen now, so you can see the fact that the iPhone, and specifically, when I scroll over, goes back to Jamel Dimmons, YNW Melly booking at gmail.com, and goes forward and gives an address in Vero Beach, Florida, which is consistent with what is on his numerous driver's license transcripts, which have been put into evidence. And there it goes through and shows all of the phone numbers and everything else for the defendant.
Let me just add this briefly. There is evidence that Mr. Dimmons lived in the same house as several other people. Identifying an address means nothing. The state, I think, mentioned that in its opening.
But in combination with an email address with his name,
secondly, if I want to set a
him.
motion on this court's calendar and they show that I called Chambers, it doesn't mean I spoke to the judge. I spoke to your courtroom deputy, maybe, or secretary. Artists get bookings by their manager, the person from whom this phone was obtained, saying that it says YNW Melly booking.
Was that you, the handler?
Oh, sorry.
Or at least a suggestion that it was used by somebody who's on behalf of the artist. Artists don't get on the phone and make these arrangements themselves. That's why they have managers. If there was a transcript of a proceeding that took place in this courtroom 7 months ago, and it didn't say who was speaking, coming in here and saying that here's a transcript that shows Mr. Howard was speaking on June the 21st, so therefore he must have been the person speaking several months ago, would be preposterous. This example is tantamount to that. And so the thing is, again, I'm not contending that there are no exchanges that can come in. I am saying with the gatekeeping function of this court, it is incumbent upon the court and the state to make sure that the foundation is laid for each exchange that is being deduced. We cannot, none of this, I just mentioned, they have none. So
basically what he's saying is if they bring this in, we are going to object to every single item.
Why don't they start with those? They're telling you about stuff that happened months before, months after, not the ones that they're trying to put in. Those are the ones that need to be authenticated, and each conversation needs authentication.
Not the whole cell phone dump. Every single entity on there, we have to establish that it was him.
It circumvents any hearsay.
MG Law said the state should be forced to jump through every requirement and move to properly admit evidence, since they are the ones trying to put someone's away for life. No, they're trying to kill this mother.
Also, in terms
they're
of
trying to kill him.
The foundation, so that the jury knows that.
Yes, you are absolutely correct. I totally agree with that.
And said, he said this. We know he said.
I would object to every single one individually.
And it can't be because we have a FaceTime of him and his little brother months before. Mm-hmm. Each individual conversation needs to be. The foundation needs to be each individual.
Every single one
cannot be dumped in wholesale.
That's the defense's weapon, right?
Foundation, it comes in. If they can't, it stays out. But if we just sidestep the whole procedure by saying we're going to let it in because we're saying this is his phone, when we have several indications that
I love this defense team, except for Weird Chick
and jury.
The two guys are awesome.
They're excellent.
Couple things, Council. Number one is I don't have any evidence before me that the phone's being used by other people at any time. I haven't heard that evidence at all. What I do know is that what the state's indicating to me and what she's just proffered are pictures on the cell phone, which appear to be the defendant, as well as conversations.
Of course they did.
The defendant and his mother, which is extrinsic evidence of circumstances surrounding the use of the phone and the pictures on it. And it seems to me that that's sufficient to show what the state is claiming, that this is his phone. I don't understand. And I still don't understand how young Chaser Howard is on that. And if you can read, I don't have an adequate explanation, but some of the texts that are between the two phones, the 9807 and his mother's phone, is clear to me that is a discussion between he and
the defense is awesome.
Using the phone. Also,
don't do that.
The state provided a certificate 6 weeks or so beforehand from the pawn shop that showed that Mr. Dennis was using the phone, identified this as his phone. I have that, as well as the subscriber information that showed that the mother was listed on the account, and there's multiple phones on the account. In any event, we're going to proceed and see where it goes, but it seems to me that there is extrinsic evidence, circumstantial evidence And this is Mr. Demon's phone. What about the juror? I want to bring the juror in. I want to talk to her just to find out as to whether or not she's okay to proceed. And, just find out a little bit about that. All right, so we're going to do that now. Can I have those 2 messages?
John, while we bring her out, can I just say this? Yesterday I presented.
And this was the as we talked about at the beginning, there was one of the jurors that was having a panic attack because the witness was wearing a mask because she had witnessed a robbery where the guy was wearing a mask like the super secret undercover ninja cop. And so the judge wants to find out if she's still able to be a juror or not. And as long as we've stopped here, Suzmard 15 with a $4.99 super chat. Hello. I was catching up on the Parkland officer trial yesterday, and on 6/12, the masked cop took the stand but was not hidden like this trial. Yeah, I don't like that this guy gets to testify wearing a mask. I don't like it. I think it's wrong. Bass with a $9.99 super chat. Having a communal phone and a competent lawyer seems like an exceptional tool to mitigate the commonplace strategy of the state to fully rely upon mobile phone records. I hope this guy objects to every damn picture one at a freaking time and just wears the prosecution down, because the prosecution cannot just carte blanche introduce absolutely everything on that phone in one fell swoop.
Well, I know we have to get through this, but I have a quick question.
Okay, I probably don't have an answer, but go ahead and ask.
So MG Law brought up an intriguing point in chat, which is that if other people use the phone,
yes,
if his use wasn't exclusive, then it cannot necessarily be proven that the phone was in his hands at the time of the murder. If other people used it, then it is possible that somebody else was using it at that time.
Possibly,
what do you think of that? Do you think that's a good argument? That's
probably one of the best they've got. But then again, it just goes to, is that a reasonable enough doubt? His mom is there. He's sending text to his mom. Right up a day after a couple of days before, a couple of months before he's talking to people, a couple of weeks before he's talking to people.
Well, clearly,
the day after he's talking to his mom, so they're going to go, is it more likely?
But the question is, if they've proven that he's handed off the phone to other people and other people have used the phone, then it wasn't exclusively in his possession all of the time.
Yeah, I mean, and that's just something the jury's going to have to weigh. Is it beyond a reasonable doubt that he probably had that phone at the time?
I mean, I guess it's a weak argument to think that, the real murderer, was, taking the phone, or it was the victim. I'm not really sure exactly what the argument is going to be.
The jury's just going to have to weigh that. They saw him with a cell phone in his hand get into the rear passenger seat of a vehicle a few minutes before the murders occurred. The cell phone data ties that phone that was very near or at the place of the murder 15 minutes before they went to the hospital. He's using that phone to text his mother 24 hours later. He's using that phone to talk to her again 48 hours later. So what are the odds that he gave it to someone and that someone went and committed a murder while he was gone? So it's just something the jury's going to have to weigh.
It's a weak argument, but it is an argument, I think.
Yeah. Like I said, the jury's going to have to decide if that meets the reasonable doubt standard or not.
I think that this is definitely damning evidence, though. I mean, it doesn't. It's going to narrow the gap, unfortunately.
It's not. Well, fortunately, if he committed the murder. Unfortunately, if he didn't.
Unfortunately for the defense.
Yes. All righty. Well, let's see what our panic-stricken juror has to say.
And thank you, Jeff.
For what?
For answering my question.
You're welcome.
I presented the court with evidence that phone was being used while Mr. Demons was in custody. So the court said there's no evidence that it was being used by others. That's evidence. The fact that it has Stack Chaser Howard. I understand it, but you didn't. I'm just letting you know that I did present you with that exact information that you say does not exist.
Right. No, the defense argues he was not there when it was shot. He's arguing that nope, he wasn't there. He wasn't even there. But the prosecution is saying yes, he was. Bring up the volume, peeps.
I had 2 messages during the last witness's testimony.
This is the jury who sent 2 messages to the judge going, OMG, I'm having a panic attack because this guy's wearing a mask.
And the first one said, I don't feel comfortable. Why does he get to see us, but we can't see him? That's your message to me?
Fucking brilliant question, juror.
I need a moment. I can't listen properly. When I was a child, I've seen someone get robbed and am having an anxiety attack.
When she was a child? Grow the fuck up.
Are you able to sit as a juror, or you think this is too much for you? I'm trying to figure out, and that's why we took a little extended lunch break to figure out whether you feel comfortable and you're up to it.
Yes, I feel comfortable, but I just don't think it was appropriate for someone to be masked up like that. And plus, you guys didn't even tell us. Like, you just didn't. You don't know.
She doesn't think it's appropriate that the guy gets to wear a mask.
Shocking, like shocked.
Shocking. This is a juror that's going to vote for the defense. It's not fair that he gets to see us and we don't get to see him. It's shocking, she says. That's not someone who thinks the prosecutor is doing a cool thing.
Yeah, but I do feel like I can handle it. But that just wasn't appropriate.
I'm sorry?
I said I don't believe that was appropriate.
Well, some things I make certain decisions about things, and then we go forward with it. I instruct jurors, and are you think you'd be able to follow those instructions and you pay attention to the evidence, or do you think that you're concerned about the masking that is going to affect your ability to follow the instructions and follow the evidence?
Yes, I can listen and follow the evidence now that I know he's going to have one mask.
This is how he is testifying.
We're past that. You're okay?
Yeah, I took my medication.
Okay, so she can cope. This is how he is testifying. And I don't like it. You can't see his expressions. I don't like it.
What's that? Looks like he has a man bun in the back. It's kind of.
It's just the back of his stupid mask. Could be a man bun. I don't know.
So she's able to follow the instructions.
All right, so the juror is not going to be excused. She's going to cope.
And then you want to...
Yes, sir. We believe we again move for the court to employ the procedure, clear the courtroom.
Yes, exactly. Clear the courtroom.
That will allow the jury to
make the guy take his fucking mask off.
We also believe.
Why didn't they just do that in the first
in
place?
lieu of that the instruction that we offered, which answers her curiosity, should be given. The court indicated that it was it declined to give the defense instruction because of the component of the proposed instruction that referenced the court balancing and prioritizing the media's right to be here over the defendant's right to confrontation.
That is exactly what the judge is doing, prioritizing the media's right to be present over the defense's right to confront his
accuser. The rest of
accuser.
the instruction, which excises that portion, we believe to be called for, especially in light of this witness's persistent curiosity. We answer all their other questions, and this is a pertinent because this is one that goes to the heart of why she is being denied the opportunity.
We're
to make
$30 away from Doug O'Can.
Thank you. What's this thing?
But I think we can come up to an agreement. I think we just need to more closely track the instruction and going off memory that it's 3.9, so I'm pulling that up now as to exactly what witnesses are supposed to be judged on. And I think the problem is the way defense has it is you observe their demeanor and facial expressions. When the actual text of the jury instruction doesn't say that. The actual text of the jury instruction reads as follows. You should consider how the witnesses acted as well as what they said. There's nothing about demeanor or facial expressions in any way, shape, or form in that jury instruction. So I think if it read that the court has ruled the next witness to be permitted to testify with his face concealed with the exception of his eyes, the court has made its ruling because this witness has expressed that there have been threats made against his life by people unrelated to this case. Your jury instructions advise you to, and then to edit it to comply with the standard, to consider how the witnesses acted as well as what they said. One moment, Mr. Your Honor.
The dragon's treasure. Here's some money. Please give us.
I don't know what that means.
Thank you.
But okay.
Dragon's
So
treasure.
Ms. Smith had a good point that it would not be appropriate for your
We'll
honor
grift you here in a bit.
logic behind your ruling or to say that it's because of this, but if you wanted to instruct them that the witness has said that there have been threats. made
Weirdo
against
makes
other
great
people
tea.
related to this case, that would be fine.
Love that guy.
Thank you. So my thought is, as far as the instruction was prepared by defense counsel, the first page reads, the court has ruled that the next witness, I'm just going to say Mr. Detective Polo, Danny Polo, will be permitted to testify with his face concealed with the exception.
Oh, he's going to let him
of
testify with a mask.
This witness has expressed that there have been threats made against his life by people unrelated to this case. And we're going to leave it there, and I'll tell them that further instruction on how you judge credibility of witnesses will be given at a later time. All right, so let's bring the jury in. Let's get the witness back up.
The witness is in the DSO office down the hall, so I'm going to find your reference and I want to
Choosy Heretic Choose Carnation Revolution Now says, Jeff, you wouldn't drive with your baseball cap backwards. Hell no. No, I wouldn't. I would never do anything with my baseball cap backwards. And while the dude and the jury are coming in, Bass dropping the $10, the $9.99 super chat. Sorry. Having a communal phone. Wait, did that already. Go away. And Booterberries. Booterberries, what's up, Aussie girl?
Oh, God.
What?
I know that case that she's talking about. It's a terrible case.
Google Mr. Cruel. If you were an Aussie kid in the 90s, you'd be scared of ski masking too. Yeah.
That is a horrible case.
It is.
I regret knowing about it. I unfortunately know way too many criminal cases like that. But that's a really bad one.
Yeah, there's some bad pictures.
I'm sure that Hayden knows a lot about it.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah, no, don't Google Mr. Cruel. It'll ruin your day.
Thank you. Be seated. Let the letter reflect the appearance of the defendant. The counsel will assist the attorney.
Sorry, Bootyberries.
Thank you for the super chat, you grim fuck.
You get the witness. So, ladies and gentlemen, in your absence, I was asked again to instruct you regarding the witness Danny Polo and the fact that he was wearing
absent.
I have ruled that Danny Polo would be permitted to testify with his face concealed, with the exception of his eyes. The court has made this ruling and this decision because the witness has
got Betty Davis
eyes against his life by people unrelated to this case. The court's going to instruct you every time as to how to judge credibility of witnesses. But that is why we permitted.
He's precocious, and he knows just what it takes.
All right, can we get back to Mr. Polo, please?
Sidebar, woohoo! We get to skip ahead.
Somebody's asking in chat, why was a victim of a violent crime chosen to serve on a jury in a case involving a violent crime? It probably didn't come up during voir dire.
It probably did, but they just decided that they wouldn't prejudice them or whatever. Whatever the answer is because the lawyers let him be there.
Yep.
Detective, you previously placed on oath to remain under oath. Detective Polo, you understand?
Yes. This is Officer Super Secret Ninja testifying.
Yes, sir. I was offering if they went to their daughter.
What are the rest of those words? What words?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
What words are you talking about, Mr. American Dreamer?
Good afternoon, sir. How you doing, sir? You've seen my face before. Yes, sir.
Witness, not a victim. Did I
Was
say
on
victim?
February 17, 2020.
I say a lot of shit. Don't pay attention.
It's my non-responsive.
Yeah, you do that thing where you say defense instead of prosecution, like I do. I do that all the time.
I sustain the objection. Next question.
Did I take your day?
Makes the tart go blonder. Nice.
What date did I take your day?
That's clever.
I remember these evidence here. If I show you a copy of the transcript with refresh your recollection? Yes, sir. Okay. I'm referring to this.
Oh, see, that's the thing. He's saying that he needs this because he's worried about the safety of his family.
The date I mentioned, February 17, 2022. Does that refresh your recollection? Yes, sir. Thank you. And on that date, you were asked, I'm not sure if I did the question, whether or not you had ever been declared an expert in any proceeding. Correct. And had you? At that time, I don't believe so. Okay, so your expertise.
This is his first testimony as an expert witness.
There's no court that has had acknowledged
wow.
your expertise up until February 17 of 2022?
That I can recall.
Are you contending that you were an expert before that?
Has the court declared me an expert? Is that what you're asking?
Well, we know you didn't. You said nothing.
Right.
Okay.
Can you clarify the question?
Okay, let's strike that. I think we. You were asked about your training and education just now by Ms. Bradley.
Yes.
And you said 500 hours of specialized training.
Yes.
In the area of gangs, organized crime, and money laundering. It's all the same.
It interconnects when you're working against.
It's all connected, man.
Of that 500 hours, how much was money laundering?
I'd have to go through all my certificates and subtract a couple hours here and there. The bulk of it is gang investigations and organized crime investigations, which are one and the same, basically.
And
So you're not
old
saying
Lacey
that money
Pettit
laundering
dropping
is
the
one and the same
$20, the
gang
big old
crime?
$20, because you sang Betty Davis
but that's
eyes.
included in your
Strawberry
Lacey.
Yoda foil hat.
Love it.
Yeah, a couple hours after that.
You're so sweet. You are also the Vice Rex of the day.
If you want me to guess.
I don't
And
want you to guess anything. Okay. But you can't tell us.
I can give you an estimate.
And
Yoda.
can you tell
Yoda's
us how
so
much of your
comfy.
training was actually gang related?
The majority of it, bulk of it.
How much? Time? Do you
Exact
know?
hours, over 400 hours.
Over 400.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So 400 was gang. And you have certifications that indicate that.
Yes.
Did you bring them with you?
Yes, sir.
And you were telling us that you also have a certification from an association of some sort. What's the name of that association?
The Florida Gang Investigators Association.
Is that a law enforcement exclusive organization?
I think, do you mean, do people other than law enforcement go to those trainings?
I like what he's asking because he's like, oh, I think he's going to tie that into the gangs. Gangs are, they're exclusive. They only let the certain people in. He's like, oh yeah, is that organization you belong to? Is that an exclusive organization you belong to too?
Sir, are you in a gang?
No, I mean, can someone other than a law enforcement officer get certified as a Florida gang by the Florida Gang Investigation?
I think that's where he's going.
Yes, sir.
You know that happened.
Yeah, prosecutors, other attorneys that go to the conferences, victims and victim advocates, they all go to these trainings.
I'm asking if they can get certified.
Yes, sir.
And you're saying prosecutors can?
Yes.
And police officers can?
Yes.
And you're saying defense attorneys can?
I don't see why not. I'm not sure if they would bar a defense attorney from going to the training. I haven't seen that in their website.
Okay, but you can't tell us that.
No, I can't, sir.
And when you say other attorneys, then you mean civil attorneys?
Yeah, attorneys like the attorneys that represent the victims in certain crimes. I'm not sure what they fall under.
Okay, and you're representing that civil attorneys that represent victims in crimes can get certified by the Florida Gang Investigation Association.
They can take the trainings, yes, sir. And then the trainings result in getting your certificates.
Okay. And how many
Sweet
hours
baby
do you
Jeebus.
need,
It's a
training
Lincoln
to
Kane
get
sighting
certified
with a
by the
drop of
Florida
the
Gang
big old
Investigation?
Aussie $100 super chat.
Lincoln,
Mr.
lovely.
Big Balls, Jeff Hype. Hey, let's go.
Thank you,
All right,
Lincoln.
get on your night. We need to do a shot for that.
And they put on intermediate courses, they put on advanced courses.
100%. Wow, Lincoln Kane is a straight up G. Thank you.
Specialized courses on
Lincoln
specific,
Kane, bringing the heat, swinging
What
the
a match.
lead.
Love it.
You do all those as well.
I'm not worthy, good sir.
The amount of hours I'm not,
Cheers to you, Lincoln Kane.
I don't know exactly the amount of
Vice
hours.
Rex for the
How many
dude.
hours did
I'll
you
drink to
go
that.
train or get instructed?
That's
with the
sparkling
Florida
water, but I'll still
Gangs
drink to that.
Investigation Association before
Mine's
you
not, because I'm not a bitch.
It is 7:21 in the morning. Where I
Yeah, so what's your excuse?
am. Rude.
Step up your alcoholism,
Close to 100
handler.
hours, maybe more. It's an estimate.
All right.
Okay. So it could be less than 100, you're saying?
Unhung Hero, I already drank the absinthe. I'm sorry.
And the other, you said there was a
Lincoln
certification
Kane, thank
have
you
from
so
some
much, brother.
academy of some sort?
Love
It's called the
you. You're
National
still
Game
going.
Day.
When I finish, we'll pop on. But we'll
Gang
see.
specialist course that's put on by a company called the National Gang Academy Training Company.
And the National Gang Academy Training Company?
It's called the National Gang Academy. It's a
Weird, we talked
training
about
company.
Mr.
They
Cruel.
provide training.
Okay, and
Lincoln
the
Kane
National
shows up.
Gang
Weird.
Academy,
The Australian connection.
who are the people who give instructions? What is their
The person that runs the academy, I'd have to look at his bio. I don't remember exactly what his experience was, but usually the people that run these organizations have 20, 30 plus years teaching in gangs. I know the Florida Gang Investigators Association, their president is one of the lead gang detectives in the state of Florida.
Okay, but I was asking about the academy. You don't know the credentials.
He sounds
who
so
give
much. What does he
instructions
sound like?
And credential.
I don't recall, sir. I don't recall the exact.
I'm not sure.
credentials.
Okay. And were they gang members?
No.
Okay. So it was some other people who professed to have expertise then
Morgan Freeman
conferring certification upon you.
They're putting you through a course. You have to pass tests. You have to.
Sounds like Morgan
It's
Freeman.
not just multiple choice tests. There's written exams. There's videos. There's interactive portions of the class where you have to call the instructor and discuss what you've been doing in your game training. So it's an 8-week interactive course.
Okay, eight weeks you said?
8 weeks, sir.
Okay. And you said that some of the knowledge that you gleaned in order to deem yourself an expert is from gang members that were in custody trying to work off their time?
Some of the interviews are gang members in custody. Some are gang members not in custody.
Okay. Let's start with the gang members that are in custody trying to work off their time.
Not all of them are trying to work off their time.
Okay. Well, the gang members
Head is
that are in
missing. Give
custody-
this man head.
Okay. Some of them are trying to work off their time?
Some.
Wink,
Okay,
wink.
let's start with that. Have you ever
Nudge,
experienced a
nudge, say no
situation
more.
where you're talking with a gang member or any defendant that's trying to work off his or her time and they're being deceptive with you in order to achieve some ulterior motive, like taking off their time?
Yoda gives zero
They're being
fucks about this
deceptive
testimony.
Yeah,
I
Yoda's
know you
bored.
don't want to, but
I took the
you-
dogs to the
you
outlet.
judge
They
whether
should
they're
be
being
to sleep
deceptive
all
or
night,
not
so they're
based
tired.
upon stuff like their facial expression.
Overall, is what
I give
I love
when
watching
I
Doggo
interview
Cam.
people, I will give them baseline questions that I already have the answers to, things that I might already
Yes,
know about.
thank you, Lincoln Kane.
Uh,
We love
things
you
in
here.
details about
Lincoln's
their lives
awesome.
Or people they
He
associate
is.
with. Other
I don't know him
members,
very well,
things about their
but that's a
specific
very
game.
generous super
And
chat.
if they're being deceptive
It
in
is.
those questions that I already have the answers to.
Australia is
then
real
I
because
need to
Lincoln
basically
wills
work-
it.
Or I call them out on the fact that they're lying to me and then see if they want to change
Who are
to
you?
being honest.
I have a story to tell about that a
At
little
that
bit
point,
later.
maybe we can
I'm going to
establish
star
a
that
connection.
one
But if
because I have a
they're
story.
lying,
Oh, we could
right
talk
from
about
the
The
get-go,
Who.
ask them a question
Just
about
about that
their
song. I have a
affiliation
story.
or about someone they associate with who's a gang member.
I love The Who.
And
Lifelong
lying.
fan.
I usually don't want to keep talking to them because it doesn't benefit me to be working with someone that's going to lie to me.
I understand. But essentially what you're saying is your assessment of their credibility governs whether or not you pursue the interview. Right?
Yeah, if I find that they are not lying to me, then I continue my interview. And then I continue to assess whether they're lying or not.
And if they're lying to you and you think they're not, you're not saying that your assessment of somebody's credibility is bulletproof. You're not saying that.
How can you know if somebody's lying
Now,
to
the
you?
ones who are reformed gang members, are they themselves in danger when they just give out knowledge willy-nilly about their past lives?
Yes.
I mean, based on the rules and bylaws and stuff like that they have written down on some of these major national gangs, you would think that it would be frowned upon. But like I stated, everyone wants to put everything on social media right now, and the founders of these organizations are giving all these intimate details about stuff they've already been convicted of, they've done time for, because
You are a mensch.
we're always trying to get views on YouTube, views on Instagram.
We love you,
trying to make
Lincoln.
money, and it's an incentive for them to tell true stories. So they're being interviewed by others in the same gang world, because it's usually most of these interviews are they'll put a couple guys that kind of came up at the same time that were founders of the organizations, co-founders.
Well, look, this is a cop who's just rattling on about gangs, and he wants to call the defendant a gangster and tie him to the gangs.
Making money that way is an incentive for them to
Show
tell
your fucking
stories.
face,
It's
you
not necessarily
coward.
an incentive for them to tell the truth, because nobody would. Okay. And some of your expertise you gained from watching YouTube videos.
No, sir, that just gives me a little insight into their world and to the gang mentality.
This guy's an expert because he fucking watched YouTube videos? Oh, fucking hell.
The person doesn't brag about committing violence upon someone else on YouTube and how they had to crack someone's head open.
The jury is not here. They're still trying to qualify him as an
That's
expert.
not typical of a
So
person who wants to admit
the
this.
defense is now cross-examining him on his ability
I
to
understand.
testify
I understand. My
as
question to
an
you
expert
was, some
witness.
of the body
Yes,
knowledge
Lincoln Kane is a fucking
that
champion.
you obtain in order to hone and advance your expertise is from YouTube. Is that true or is it not?
Some of the knowledge came from interviews, yeah. Interviews that I watched with people that I found to be telling true stories because it's been corroborated based off written documents.
I can't get past the state is trying to
You
fucking
were asked
kill
about your
someone,
hands-on
to take away
investigation,
this
and I think your
defendant's
answer was
life,
suspects or
and they
special
won't.
investigation.
This guy doesn't even have the
Remember that?
fucking balls to take off
And you
his
said
mask and
over
show his
30
face.
suspects you have engaged in investigations since 2022.
I don't understand why they
You never
don't
gave
clear
us a
everybody
number
out of the
your involvement
gallery
in special
and turn off the
investigations.
cameras or put the camera on Melly.
The number 30 was referenced
Right.
just, I believe, our
That's the appropriate thing to do.
Yeah, he gave the jury instructions, so it's all better.
Yeah, that's the one thing I don't agree with this judge on. I like everything else he's done.
A lot of these investigations.
He's a great
is
judge.
Investigation into a criminal organization. That's one investigation might involve 20 subjects.
Okay, Laser Wombat, how am I being a moron about those witnesses?
Explain yourself.
I only did one investigation when it was really 20 separate investigations that are all linked together into one organization, charged as an organization.
Understood. Now, my question to you, however, was how many special investigations have you engaged in yourself?
Give me a second to think about it.
Please.
Thank you, sir.
I mean,
He can't answer the question how many special investigations he's been in without looking at his notes.
What I don't understand is this man has a $50,000 bounty on his head. His life is in so much danger. What is so important about his testimony? Why is he risking his life to do this? Why is it so important to him? Why is he relevant
All right.
in this investigation?
You've triggered me. You've triggered me, Chandler. You've
I have?
triggered me.
I
You
have? Okay.
You've triggered me. I gotta
Okay.
stop.
Sorry.
Wait, first of all, before I rant, Laser Wombat says he's under threat of death and his expertise comes from many places, including being undercover. Okay, first of all, how do we know his life is in danger? Because he said so. That's all we have to go on.
Okay.
And he said he's already said I'm not. And mercifully, what Laser Wombat is bringing up is exactly what you triggered, so I don't have to do double duty here. I can just rant about one thing.
Okay.
All right. Here we go. Yes, let's break this down here. He's under threat of death. How do we know? What evidence has he presented that he's under death? Nothing other than he said, oh, someone threatened me and there's a bounty on my head for $50,000. What proof do we have of that? Absolutely nothing.
True.
And two, and his expertise. Oh, and then he said, I'm not testifying. He said this. He said, I'm not afraid for me. I'm afraid for my family. What the fuck do we know about his family?
Good point.
We don't know if we don't even know if he has a fucking family.
Okay.
And
fair.
we know that we don't know anything about this. What evidence do we have? Do we have that he has a fucking family? What evidence do we have that someone's threatened his fucking family?
It doesn't
Nothing.
compute. It actually does
Zero.
not compute. I don't understand. What I don't like. That's. I mean, the reason I'm asking the question is because it doesn't compute for me. I don't understand why anybody with a $50,000 bounty on his head would agree to testify as an expert in a trial. So he didn't witness anything, right? So he's not required to be there.
Yes. And this is what the defense was asking. Are you the only fucker in Florida that can testify to this?
Yeah, really.
Why did the defense bring in the only person that has to wear a fucking mask and can't show his fucking face? Why
would he
this
risk his
the
life?
person that they
Why
brought
would
in?
he? It seems theatrical.
And yes, he has all this experience, but why not? I have no problem with this guy testifying. None whatsoever. I have a problem that he's not letting the jury and the defendant see his face.
Yep.
Chandler said it as the defense lawyer asked for, get everybody out of the gallery, make everybody just wait in the hall while this guy testifies. Keep the cameras on him. Do this. He does not need a fucking mask on his face right fucking now. The only reason he needs it is because there's people sitting in the gallery that are looking at him. Get rid of the people in the gallery, keep the camera here, keep it on the judge, keep it on the defendant, keep it on the prosecutor, keep it any fucking where you want.
Aim it at the wall. Who cares?
On this guy. Yes. Just tell him to take off his mask because we as Americans have an absolute right under the United States Constitution, 6th Amendment, to face our accusers, to confront our accusers. And this man is an accuser under the definition of the Constitution.
Yes.
Do anything you want. Make him take off his fucking mask. Let the jury see his face. Let the jury see his facial expressions. Let them use that to weigh the evidence and decide what weight they're going to give to his testimony. I don't like this at all.
I don't either. And the thing is that, you know, if he really had a $50,000 bounty on his head, which maybe he does, I don't know why he would broadcast that publicly. I don't know why he would risk his life to testify in this trial when he wasn't deposed. He's not required to be there. There's no legal requirement for him to testify. He's voluntarily testifying. So if it's that risky for him, why would he do this? You know, in such a public trial, it doesn't make sense to me. Sorry. Maybe that's not as relevant, but I have a question about that.
And let's take it one step further. He already testified during the morning session yesterday that we showed. He sat there out in the parking lot for 2 hours in public without his mask on. He sat outside the courtroom for however long he was out there without his mask on.
Seriously?
Yes. He said, I didn't wear my mask because I didn't think I was going to be allowed to wear it during my testimony. He sat there while everybody filed past him into the courtroom. He sat there while the defense lawyer, he said, I even saw you without your mask on. He said, yes. He sat there he only put his mask on when he went into this courtroom. He didn't have it on when he was sitting out in the hallway watching everybody file past him, watching witness after witness go by. He didn't have it on in the parking lot for 2 hours while he was waiting. He only put this on when he sits in front of the jury. And why does he need it on now? He doesn't.
Also, we know his name, right? We know his name.
Well, we don't know if that's his real name or not. We'll just assume it is, but yes, we do.
Is he allowed to, you know, present a fake name? I mean, is that like?
Don't know.
I'm curious. I feel like the whole thing is very theatrical, and it just feels off to me.
Yeah, it's wrong. I don't like it. I hate it. Unhung hero. Look at me. I'm the expert now. Oh, look at me. Sorry, I read that wrong. Look at me. I am the expert now. Sorry, I read that incorrectly. I'm sorry. I should have, you know.
Oh, Steve Gosney in the chat says the easy answer to the mask thing is to have him testify maskless but behind a screen, but visible to the jury and defense.
Yes, or just clear the gallery.
Yeah.
Clear the gallery.
I mean, this is Florida.
Put the camera somewhere else.
This is Florida, and Steve knows how things go. That is something that is done in Florida, apparently, according to Steve Gosney, the straight up G, who, you know, we love Steve.
Thank you, Steve,
for being here, but this is ridiculous.
I hate this. This is a violation of his constitutional rights.
Yes,
and
it is.
I will argue that to my damn death.
Who was it? Who could it possibly be? Was it? Oh, I don't know. Say it.
You know what? That was the wrong clip. It was supposed to be this one.
Look at me, sure. Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
That's what it was supposed to be, not the church lady. I just clicked the wrong button in my anger and ire.
Do you remember this guy's name? This. I want to Google him, and I want to see if you can see a picture of his face on Google.
Scroll. Read the scrolling banner. It's Detective Danny Polo.
Yeah, Danny Polo. All right, I'm going to Google him, and I'm going to see if there's a photo of him online, because honestly, there probably is.
So I hate this, and if anybody says that they're glad and they agree that he shouldn't show his face, you're just wrong. That's it. You're just wrong. Sorry, you're just wrong.
I mean, my question is to those people: do you hate America? Do you hate the Constitution? What is wrong with you?
All right. Now I just think this is wrong. This is absolutely wrong. Like right here, his face is not visible. He doesn't need the mask. The only reason he needs the mask is because there's people in the peanut gallery looking at him. Get rid of the peanut gallery, and he doesn't have to have the stupid freaking ninja mask on his face.
It's really easy. All they have to do is get up off their asses and walk out of the court like 5-10 steps, whatever. It's ridiculous.
This.
It's stupid.
But anyway, you know, it's done. No sense me ranting at it. It's done. Yeah. Been there, done that. Says the court would require me to wear a mask. I'm just that ugly. I object as long as you're using that like 10-year-old picture of me.
I mean, ugly people testify all the time.
We saw
the Cowardly Lion testify the other day.
We did. Oh, See, damn it! I keep forgetting to buy some AA batteries here for my blood. I have my blood pressure checking device right next to me. I keep forgetting to buy AA batteries for it, so I can check my blood pressure.
Drink a little more absinthe, and you'll calm down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby Maloney says meme raid. Not really. He doesn't care. Meme copium. If your people are here, whatever. Corn Pope. Laser Wombat, I agree with you. I'm happy they're letting him wear a mask. Corn Pope, I love you, dear. You're the most awesome, wonderful, beautiful woman ever, but you're just wrong.
Straight up wrong.
Yeah, all right. You're just totally wrong. All right, let's get back into this because we got a tight timeline. We got an hour and a half left.
Yeah.
And only like 3.5 hours of testimony. Lincoln Kane making kissy faces to Plushie Mom. Much more egregious things go into court every day in every state. Yes, but does that mean we have to let them in? Do we have to? Is it like, okay, there's more bad things in, so let this other bad thing in wrong? No.
Isn't that a straw man argument? That's just
yeah.
I'm not a fan of logical fallacies. Sorry. Hi, Nicola. Happy to see you.
Nicola. Hate this. Hate it.
Yep.
What's he doing? He's calculating the number of times he's been participated in these things. Come on.
I thought this was his first testimony.
But no, they asked him how many times he's participated in these super secret, clubby investigations.
Mm.
What are you looking at?
He's a lawyer trying to do math.
18 gangs and...
Oh, you're wrong, Corn Pope. Go away. No, don't go away. Please don't go away. I love you.
30 different investigations.
So
on Jeff's channel, he's right.
13 or 30?
That's how it goes.
30. Okay.
So
he's been involved in 30 special
investigations.
investigations.
30 suspects.
Corn Pope, tell me why they can't make him take his mask off and get the people out of the courtroom. Tell me why they can't do that.
So this Florida Gang Investigation Association, can anybody get certification if they don't attend the criminal justice only part of the training?
I don't work for FGIA, sir, so I don't know what their rules are for that. I know I'm allowed to take the classes. I know I've seen prosecutors send those classes with me. There have prosecutors come to the trainings with me. So I can't answer on behalf of FGIA.
Holy sweet jumping baby Jesus. Lincoln Kane gifted 25 Legal Vices memberships. 50 Legal Vices memberships. Holy shit.
Wow, Lincoln. Straight up G.
Any of you 872 people currently watching that got a gifted membership from Lincoln Kane, show him some love. Make sure you go to his website and subscribe and like everything he's ever fucking done, especially the stuff that I'm on.
Talking about attorneys.
Mods, light up Lincoln Kane with the in the links there. Lincoln Kane links out to everybody so they can go and subscribe to his channel and like everything he's ever done.
So it's not limited to certified law enforcement.
Lincoln, you're awesome.
Or retired law enforcement, or probation, parole, corrections, juvenile justice, intelligence personnel, prosecuting attorneys, judges, and crime analysts, and intelligence analysts, evidence technicians for a law enforcement agency.
How is there that much of a delay to know that? To know what?
Well,
what do I know?
That from their website, that's perfect. I mean, like I said, I don't work for FGA, so I don't know where their cutoff is. Okay. And I don't have access to the website at the moment.
So in fact, it may be just a law enforcement only organization for certification purposes.
Light this man up. All 865 of you, go over to Lincoln Kane and subscribe to his channel and watch him. He is the man. If you like my Fuck It Friday streams, he does Fuck It Friday 24/7.
You're saying some of the, do you work undercover?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you were saying some of the undercover members, undercover law enforcement officers who are members of gangs.
In an undercover capacity.
Yeah. Are you?
Yes.
You're believing his story that he has a credible threat on his life. We don't know that. The only thing we know, he said it. We don't know if it's true.
Probably know more about the intimacies than you.
I was a case agent on that.
Okay. And
case agent being the person that leads the investigation and tells you to cover what to do and what evidence I need to gather, what evidence is beneficial to prove the gang, and I collect all the evidence, meaning knowledge, instructions from other gang members. So I direct the investigation. They're the undercovers.
Okay.
So I'm the undercover, someone's telling me what to do because it's their investigation.
Okay, but in an undercover capacity, you never went to the step of getting inside a gang so you could be in the room where intimate gang activity was actually being discussed among gang members only.
It's recorded. I'm in the room.
Okay, so you're just in the room with them, but you are not a gang member, so they wouldn't be discussing stuff that only gang members discuss. You're not one.
What's up, girl?
Is that
We've got Shani here as well. No, Australians don't hate Americans and Canadians. Much love from Lincoln and I. Shani, you are the boss. I got a gifted membership to Lincoln Kane's channel from Shani. As soon as that expires, I'll read up.
There's some incomplete ones on the internet.
Shani, give love to Shani, everybody.
I haven't really found any great ones on the internet.
It's the Aussie contingent.
There are some that have been leaked. Some of the information is pretty accurate. Some of them are outdated. It's not the most recent ones. Like in this case, there was an updated one that was revamped in 2016 from the original 1996 version.
And you were saying to us, I think, that the rules of a gang
so much, Shani.
in one location or locality don't necessarily translate into being the rules of gang in another part of the country. Or
oh, God, I'm so sorry to have to stop this here. Corn Pope, you sweet summer child. Why would a cop lie? Why wear a mask if he doesn't feel threatened? Because it looks scary and it makes the jury think, ooh, this is such a serious trial because this guy can't even testify in front of the defendant because, ooh, threat on his life. That's how this dangerous. Danger, Will Robinson. If he doesn't feel threatened, that's just dumb. No. God. If he wasn't threatened, then why would he want to wear one? Because he's a cop. That's why. He's a cop. My sweet summer child, Corn Pope. I love you, but wake up. It's a cop.
Cops lie. Cops lie a lot. Cops lie frequently. Cops lie as part of their vocation. I mean, it is. We love you, Corn Pope, but it's easy to figure out.
But anyway, the judge has ruled, so we've just got to make do with what we got. And Steve Gosney says, Corn Pope, no, I think hiding behind a mask interferes with the right to confront the accuser and the right of the jury to assess credibility. But that is the defense's perspective for sure. He is subject to cross. And right now, well, I mean, he hasn't even been allowed in as an expert yet, but he's going to be, clearly.
Well, Steve has mentioned that this is a possible point of appeal, which would be interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I like hearing that.
And this is the third time that the defense has made this exact objection for that exact reason. So anyway, let's go. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do another stream on Sunday or something.
Like any organization, the farther you get down in the structure of that organization, things are lost in translation. So the head of the snake can only control the tail so much.
So you're saying that the only reason that there are different rules in different parts of the country of a gang is because they're lost in communication, or do different localities have different rules? Okay, well. And you're saying that part of the information that you gather is by just walking up to somebody that you see and see if they'll talk to you and tell you all their intimate gang stuff?
I've done that before, yes.
And even when they don't?
Look, here's my question for you, Cornbo. Why this expert? Why did they call this guy as an expert?
So
the guy who has a bounty on his head and can't testify without a mask. There are other experts on gang activity in the state of Florida. Why this guy? Why call only the guy that has to wear a mask? They did it for a reason. They wanted him to wear a mask on the stand. Otherwise, they would have called somebody else. He's never testified as an expert before.
It could mean something. If you're I just meet you and you're having to be wearing a red bandana in your right pocket, I know you're not a member of the blood, sir. So I would not think this guy's a blood.
I understand that.
You get what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is, how are you learning? You might be learning whether the person you're speaking to fits the criteria of the gangs that you already have formed. You're not advancing your knowledge about gangs by looking at them and saying and identifying things that you.
My understanding is he was not involved in this investigation at all. He's being called in as an expert on gangs.
No, please rephrase that.
Okay, interesting. And by the way, before I get to that question, you're saying that for example, Bloods are favor their right, so they might cross their arm
There's
right
the
over
door
left,
if I'm
right?
becoming unwatchable. I'm going to
When
continue
you
to
say
plan
might,
because
are you
that's what I
saying sometimes
do.
they cross it left over right?
I'm just
So
saying,
that's not really
Kidding.
a rule, right?
nothing's written in stone, sir.
Okay.
So that means
I'm here for Jeff's
bloods
rant
typically
every
wear
single
red.
time.
Right? It's one of their primary colors. They also wear green, which is on the East Coast a blood color. And new recruits within the Bloods are told to wear brown or tan with a white T-shirt. So there's different things. You can't just stick to one aspect.
Not at the
Like,
time
oh,
of
man,
giving
I
the
didn't cross out that
deposition.
B that one time because you're supposed to cross out your B's
I
or
understand.
your C's. Sorry. So just because you didn't do it one time doesn't eliminate what you are.
I understand. I'm just trying to
Doesn't
get
need to
you
be from the area. He can be from
You're
anywhere in
saying
Florida.
sometimes they might wear their hat to the right,
Correct.
meaning sometimes they might wear it to the left, and sometimes they might wear it straight, and sometimes they might wear it in the back, right?
Yes.
So that's another rule. That sometimes they do.
These aren't rules. These are a rule. Something that has to be followed. These are just things that they're known to do.
Okay.
Like wearing the color red. They don't always wear the color red. If they did, it'd be very easy to just find all your Bloods, or at least start looking for them.
And all of the 6 times that you testified as an expert were
6 times.
Recently. Were they in 2022 and 2023 or just in 2022?
I testified in federal court a couple months ago on the Zone Mafia family case.
Yeah, so he's a brand new expert.
Last year sometime, I forgot when, on a Nitro Gangster Bloods case, attempt homicide case.
Yep.
And I testified in a couple of sentencing hearings between that time and now.
Okay. So whatever the case, would it be fair to say your expertise is just kind of in its embryonic stage?
He's an
since you were
embryo.
certified
He's
as
an
expert
embryo
as of
expert.
February of last year. You agree with that?
He's a larval expert.
I think my knowledge of
He'll come out of his chrysalis one day and develop into a full-fledged
grown over time. Obviously, that's why I do recurring training. But
And you said that you've attended every conference since 2016, right?
Yes, sir.
And your first conference, what conference was that in 2016?
The Florida Gang Investigators Association.
And how many times? I'm sorry.
The conference.
Okay. And you said every conference since then? Is it biannual, annual, every month? Annual?
Annual, and then they host additional trainings throughout the year. We wouldn't call them conferences. They don't call them conferences. They're just trainings, 2-day trainings, 3-day trainings on specific things like outlaw motorcycle gangs. I believe was the last one I took.
Okay. See if we can bump this to 1.5.
And
Yeah, sounds
and you
good.
got your certification in 2016 then?
I have to look at my certificate. I think it's taken 2 years before I got the advanced certificate.
That's too fast.
All right, one last thing. You said that you have taught, like,
Not for him, but
at-
for the answers.
I'm not sure I got that right, but was it like at-risk youth kind of seminars to just say no kind of thing?
I've spoken to the youth both while I was working on the road before I was in the strategic investigations division, trying to help the youth not join gangs or leave the gangs that they're already in, trying to give them an opportunity. That's something that I do on my off time as well.
Slow
Not for
down,
the sheriff's
Joe.
office.
Enjoy it.
I
Come on,
volunteer, and
what are you going so fast for? Slow down. Enjoy it.
I've taught at a victim advocacy conference for the Office of the Attorney General. And youth outreach is important to me.
Okay, and thank you for that. We need that. My question to you, however, is when you are speaking, and would you actually call it teaching or is it speaking?
It's teaching. They have questions. You're teaching them how to properly document gangs, because if
I
it's done
shall
incorrectly,
return.
then you're gonna ruin the system. And it happens. We see it where.
I thought you were talking to kids. Are you talking to young youth? You're teaching
Oh,
them
I
how
thought you were talking in general when I'm teaching.
Okay.
I'm sorry, sir. No, kids. Yeah, no. When you talk to the youth, you're talking about. It's a prevention thing. It's more of like, don't ruin your life, and explain the risk factors and what not to do, and try to help them understand that there's a life outside of that, because some of these kids come from families and neighborhoods, socioeconomic areas where they don't see the light, so they need to understand that there is a way out.
I agree with you. What I'm asking you is when you do that, you are doing nothing that any other of these fine officers could do, or I could do.
I think I could relate with them a little better, because I understand the gang mentality, because I've interviewed so many gang members, so I understand where they're coming from.
But you have included references to motivational and just stay on the straight path
Scared
teaches
straight.
to you as among your teaching experience and your expertise?
Something I do, yeah. And you learn from those kids as well. You don't think you learn from kids that are involved in gangs?
Okay, thank you. One more. I have a question.
So Detective Pola, when you're talking about determining whether or not someone is or is not a gang member, you go both ways.
I try to convince myself that they're not. I'm trying to avoid confirmation bias. So someone tells me this guy's a blood or is a mafia family or GD or Crip or whatever, I'll start looking for things to tell me that they're not. Because the second I can convince myself that this person's not a gang member, it's probably true that they're not, and then maybe it's just not enough evidence to prove they are.
Tries to convince himself people to say they're in gangs or not in gangs. I don't believe that. Not for a second.
To support it, that's when it shifts, and I'm like, okay, this guy has to be a member. And this happens frequently because, like I said, sometimes people document gang members incorrectly because they'll see a tattoo that they think means something, and they'll document that person as a member of XYZ gang, and then I personally know that person is a member of this Bloods gang. So then I have to go and figure out why someone believed this person was a member of this other gang, and convince myself that that person is wrong, not right, or maybe notice that there might be two gang affiliations, like a prison gang and street gang, national-based gang and local street gang that they associate with. So multiple alliances.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
so
judge
you
is letting the
mentioned that
phone
there can
in.
be, multiple alliances. Can you give a definition of what it would mean to be behind the wall?
Behind the wall means in prison.
So are there different gangs that are behind the wall versus outside?
Yeah, there's different gangs in prison, and there's some of those gangs exist on the outside as well. So the United Blood Nation was founded as a prison gang to protect Black Americans against Hispanics in New York and Rikers Island. Little by little, that expanded and it spread to the streets, and then these multiple blood sets that were created in Rikers Island were now on the streets
Okay,
spreading their ideology.
you used a term that we haven't defined. Can you explain to the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is a set?
A set, like a group.
Yes, at the time of giving his deposition, he had never testified
So you mentioned some
before.
of the organizational
And
system. Is there a recognized
since then, he's testified like
organizational
6
system in
times.
place for example, the UBN?
Yes.
And so can you describe a little bit about how that is organized?
So the United Blood Nation was founded by a handful of leaders within Rikers Island. They created the first 3 original sets: Nitro Gangster Bloods, 183 Gangster Bloods, and G-Shine or Gangster.
You know what else
Bloods.
Boney M
Sometimes they
said?
go by different names.
Rah, rah, Rasputin, lover of the Russian.
Speaking of Boney M, I don't know if anybody's seen that episode Demon 67 or whatever it's called on Black Mirror. Very, very good.
Leader.
There's a character that looks like Boney M. It's fantastic.
The new season?
Yeah.
That doesn't
Really
start
good.
here up till tomorrow. It drops tomorrow in Korea.
You're gonna love it.
I will.
My favorite episode.
And there's a couple more of those, and then they spread into different branches. And they have there, from the Godfather, you have the highs, you have the lows. That's the title of the rank.
Where I lay
And sometimes they'll
down
give
on
those
the
titles,
lawn.
the high and low, give it a separate title. So associate the title like it could be anything. Whatever set can call it whatever they want for their group. You have the highs and lows, you have the fifth floor. Fifth floor, I guess the rank. Called fifth floor or 5-star.
We remember Zion.
Third floor, second floor, first floor, you have foot soldiers. And that doesn't mean there's one person per position. There could be hundreds of people in one position. And that's in the next one, that's in the next one. So you get all the way to the top. Like most organizations,
Rivers
only
of
one CEO,
Babylon.
one big boss, and there's assistant managers,
When we remember
associate
Zion.
managers, and supervisors.
Sorry,
source
that's like my favorite Boney M
assistant
song.
managers. You can only run an organization a certain amount with one big.
So in terms of your experience in training and dealing with gangs, is there a financial component to those?
Huge financial component.
Could you describe a little bit more about that?
Thank you, Ranko. Okay, that's very nice of you.
Other than protection inside the prison system, once they spread out into the streets, one of the main focuses of the game is to financially.
It's been stuck in my head since last night when I was watching
financially
it.
support the game, you have to
You watched it last night, or on the?
I watched the Black Mirror episode.
And they don't have a rule on how to get this money.
Because one of the characters watches the music video for
Some
him.
of the Bibles say get it how you live, right? So pick a
Sorry,
trade,
spoilers.
make money. If it's
I won't
rapping,
say
it's
anymore.
rapping. If it's selling drugs, it's selling drugs. If it's selling guns, it's selling guns. If it's killing, it's killing. If it's doing home invasions, it's doing home invasions. And then that money in most gangs that report back to the prison system, they pay dues. Not all gangs do, but a lot of them do. They pay dues. These dues are collected at the very bottom. They transfer it over to the person in charge of collecting the money. The person in charge of collecting the money usually has a title. They might have a rank. They also have a title of treasurer. That person is then responsible for holding the money for the gang, so that if someone has legal troubles, they can pay for the attorney fees, or if someone needs, or if the organization inside the wall in prison needs food, commissary, shoes, anything, they can support their brothers behind the wall until they get out. That money is also used to get people back on their feet when they get out of prison. So that's the financial component. That's the money laundering component of the organizations.
So you talked a little bit about wiretaps and monitoring of specific phrases, spellings, things like that. How do you learn the phraseology or specific slang used by any individual set or gang?
Sometimes it's, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes it's difficult. There's certain slang and symbols that we have yet to decipher, right? Because even if you have the dictionary, it might not even make sense because the slang, the answer or the definition of the slang term, the code word is another code word, and unless you know what the previous Bible said, you never figure it out. But for the most part, you get this based off of context.
Okay. Can you describe, you mentioned something about dropping a C or crossing out all the C's. How does that show up in the messages?
So it's written in most of if we're speaking about bloods only, in the blood Bibles, it'll say you'll cross out all your C's and replace them with X's, E's, K's. Basically, just replace all the C's. And the reason that you replace the C's is because historically,
more letter replacement? What is this?
California, they were created to defend themselves against the Crips. The Crips were an organized gang at the time.
This is so weird.
In the early 70s, they were decimating the local neighborhood street gangs, and the local neighborhood street gangs banded together and said, let's unify and become one organization. The Malpiru was one of the original sets, 5'9" Grim, one of the original sets, and all these neighborhood street gangs, like I stated, there's neighborhood street gangs, eventually sometimes evolve into large national gangs. That's how the Bloods were created. So these neighborhood street gangs banded together, created Bloods, started calling themselves Bloods, and began to multiply. And the main thing was defending themselves against the Crips. So most of their language is anti-Crip language. That doesn't mean right now there's a war between Crips and Bloods, but they might still disrespect each other. If they get into an argument, they'll use derogatory language that they've created to.
The anti-Crip language would be like changing the C to
show
B.
disrespect, either graffiti or messages on message boards. They'll
Like I've done with my name.
Or Crips will cross out B's. They'll call each other certain words. Like
Love you, Corn Pope. You're the
Bloods
best.
call Crips
You're
crackers.
wrong, but you're the
That's
best.
their term. Crips call Bloods slobs. That's their
I like
word
hearing
for
differing
Bloods.
opinions,
I do too.
Well, these are little
No
things.
fun if I'm preaching to the choir.
It's not
but I also believe in the Constitution. So
every single time message they can do it, but it happens pretty frequently.
So in terms of the term FYE, fire.
Yeah.
What would that be translated to?
A gun,
What about a stick or a pole?
a rifle or a shotgun, a long gun. It's like a stick.
What about the term on the plate?
On the plate or being greenlit that means the gang has sanctioned your murder, basically. If you've been put
All
on the
this
plate,
gang lingo
or
is
you've been
just.
greenlit, or you've been labeled food.
He's gonna be
on site
allowed to be entered as an expert witness.
On-site
Just get on with it.
attack that needs to be done on you. And if you're a member of this
this is
gang,
taking forever.
you know that
It's
Johnny
annoying.
Smith is on the plate and you run into him. and you
How
don't
much longer do we have
act
till a
accordingly,
break?
And you might also be put on that plate. You might also be labeled food, and you might be next in line, or you are next in line to be.
Oh God, this goes on for 25 more
You also
minutes.
mentioned the term false flagging. Could
Wait,
you define
when
that for
does-
the jury?
Just means claiming something that you're not. So saying you're blood, you're not blood, and saying you're
I was just curious how long this guy's going to be on the stand for.
He hasn't even started
So
being on the
how,
stand. This is
that
just qualifying
side
him as an
note, how
expert.
do these
Yeah.
small neighborhood local sets of young kids, how do they wind up becoming actually real sanctioned sets with the blood?
To become sanctioned, so there's a lot of neighborhood street gangs that identify as bloods. They call themselves bloods. They identify
I mean, is this all
as
relevant?
bloods in terms
To-
of they
I just don't get
adopted
it.
all the
This is just
signs,
whether or not he's
symbols,
an expert.
ideologies,
Ugh.
clothing, all these things that the bloods buy from. And they might have bits and pieces of knowledge that they've gotten from, friends.
They're just
or
making
whoever,
sure he has
on
expertise.
the
I'm
internet.
halfway
They try to
tempted, or
follow us.
probably like actually
At some
80%
point,
tempted,
if
just
you
to
get a big
skip
enough
the rest
neighborhood
of his
street gang,
qualification
blood,
testimony and just go right back to where
will
he's
probably-
admitted
they
as
will
an
probably get
expert.
approached by a national set.
Thomas is
It could
saying
be
Chandler
anyone with a national
audio.
blood sense.
I don't know what
Will
that
approach these
means.
I don't know what
street
that
gangs
means
and
either.
tell
It
them,
sounds perfect to me.
It's almost like a cease and desist order.
Okay.
You either fold, you come tap in with the bloods.
All right,
and
chat.
become
Now's your
official bloods,
now's your
or
chance to
sanctioned
chime
by
in
one
here.
of the national branches.
One, if you want me to skip his
your
qualification
desired
testimony and bring the jury in, or two, if you want me just to shut the hell
And
up
if
and
you could
listen to him.
explain, is the term real?
One, to
right?
skip ahead to the jury, and
So
two,
real right
to
is
just
reference
listen to him ramble some more.
A sanctioned blood, a blood that's tapping in, a blood that's associated to one of the national branches, that's doing all the right things as blood. So if you're saying you're real right, that means you're a member of the bloods. Like the sanctioned blood's not a neighborhood street set.
And I think you've already described or defined lineup, but if you could just make sure that's clear, please.
Your lineup in a
Ones
game
have spoken.
is your chain of your chain of command. So who's your foot soldier?
And that's what we're doing. We're skipping ahead to the end of his qualification testimony. And then we'll go on a break, and then we'll be able to skip ahead for that. And we're not going to make this. We've got like 1 hour, and I've got to, Chandler and I have to make a hard out so we can go on Eric Hundley's show. So I'll have to do some makeup on Sunday night, I guess. Sunday night for me, Sunday morning for everybody else.
Really quick,
All right,
I just wanted to say, Steve, I got the hardcover in the mail, and thank you so much for the copy. It's signed and it says "God bless" with a little cross. I really appreciate it.
Chandler got hard.
The Island Boys.
Very funny.
Yeah, they proclaimed it to be members of Sex Money Murder, which is a set of the bloods, and they quickly got checked by almost every blood that could find them on social media. They got branded, and they then had to recant and apologize.
Did you find any evidence whatsoever of any recanting or apologizing by Mr. Devins in the records that you reviewed?
There's no recanting, there's no apologizing, there's no one calling out Mr. Devins for being a fake blood. There's all I could find is support for Mr. Devins for being blood by other bloods.
Okay, in terms of the specific communications that you went through, were those on a cellular phone and an email extraction? Or
Yes. Yes, it was on both.
Okay, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna make sure the defense has a chance to see what's in the state. Triple U, for identification purposes only.
All right, whatever. Gonna skip through the break, get back into court.
Once again, reflecting the pledge of the defense, Devins, his counsel, the assistant attorney, the ladies of the jury, are witness to the man's understand. Counsel wrote, so on your version. Proceed as sustainable.
Here we go. Now he's a witness.
Yes, sir. So Detective Polo, the item that has been presented to you is straight state triple U. You recognize it?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you recognize it?
It is the email chain addressed to
Oh, Jesus, the email's coming in. He's done.
Is this the same email that is referenced in the 772-713-9807 phone extraction review?
Yes.
Is that the same or substantially same condition as when it was retrieved?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I've been remiss. 807 of you here, 593 likes. Please bear with me here just for a quick second while we go through some of the super chats that I've been delaying for nearly a half an hour. I apologize to you, super chatters. I'm just getting all worked up. Hello, Daggy. What's up, Strobs? All right. Unhung Hero says, the cope is strong in Laser Wombat's argument, but hey, I don't like preaching to the choir, like I said. So Laser Wombat, Corn Pope, they're entitled to their wrong opinions. And I like it. Elsie Merritt, the mask is prejudicial against a presumed innocent man. And why did the court allow a violent crime victim to serve on this jury? She wasn't a victim. She witnessed a robbery by a guy in a mask when she was a child. and probably didn't expect her to have a panic attack when someone in a mask testified. But yeah, nobody kicked her off, so she's there. That's why.
I mean, sometimes things just, people suppress things and then they come up later. It just happens.
Yeah. Unhung hero, the dichotomy between Yoda and Jeff. Lol. Yeah, I was agitated, but Ray said I was becoming unwatchable in my rants. Well, good.
This is your channel. I love your rants, and
I will rant.
If you don't like it, then leave. I mean, I don't know what you're here for. If you're not here for Jeff, what are you here for? Go watch Long Cook.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. What Chandler said. Yeah. You dirty rat. Timothy Schultz. I'm a gang expert too. I've seen colors 50 times. Is the police office Pac-Man on the stand? Is this office Pac-Man on the stand? There you go. That's good. Wolfram, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Is the prostituter mouthing die to this masked witness?
Ooh.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised. All right, that gets us to where we need to be. We're caught up on the chats and whatnot, so
good.
Let's see how much of it, and this doesn't go all the way to the end, so we might be able to squeak out. Okay, this goes to the 8:17 marks. That's 1 hour and a half. In the next hour, we might be able to do this because they got a break coming up. Let's go.
Google the search warrant.
Yes.
Here at this time, the state requesting the state's triple use of evidence and published to the jury.
Any objection not previously raised?
We objected to it.
Steve, what about the rights of that little girl?
Objection not overruled. It'll be admitted.
All right, he objected to the cell phone thread coming in. It's coming in, and it's not pretty. I said, if this comes in, he's toast, and unfortunately, I think he's toast.
We're going to go through this email and the attachments that are on it.
If it's the email we think it is. Okay, this is a different email thread.
September 16th, 2018.
This is 6 weeks before the murder.
Sent date. Do you see that on there?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please say and read for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury what is the
Counsel, one second, please.
This is April 16th.
No.
Trying to make it as big as possible as well.
YNW Melly booking. That's his manager. That's not the
out loud for those-
defendant's deal. That's his management dude's email.
Oh.
Jaquan Burton.
Now that's different.
@gmail.com.
And who is it addressed to?
YNW Melly booking @gmail.com.
He might have access.
And before we get into all of
But
the
he might not.
attachments, in terms of how many times this email was forwarded, is that also reflected on this page?
Yes.
This third entry down, the Jaquan Burton again is the sender. Who is it going to?
The subject named Derek Dixon was identified as Gino.
Okay.
Street name Gino.
And we'll come back to Gino in just a little bit. Continuing on. Were you able to identify all of the individual email addresses and associate them with a known person?
So we went through some of them and were able to identify. Earlier on, there was a Jamon Mitchell. He's in a photograph with Mr. Demons. That was on the first page.
Okay.
Must be hot on the chair. Strawberries taken to the cold floor.
Is that the one here? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I think I've copied. Was first page.
I'm sorry.
First page, the first one sent to Mitchell Jamon @gmail.com.
So going through.
That's the defendant. No.
To this
Shut
last,
up, Jeff.
the first
Bang,
forwarded
bang.
one on this particular email chain. Can you read the from email?
Bang Bang is the name, and then the email is bangbangascari@gmail.com.
This is
Does
August.
the term Ascari mean anything particular or
Wait, look at the date on this. This is more than 3 years before the murder. What is this?
special in relation to the G-Shine Bloods?
Ascari is a step above a foot soldier in G-Shine. It's
Well, it does say brazy.
like their second rank above a foot solder.
She's a
So
foot soldier.
continuing on, the information that we're here, and I'm sorry I have to make it a little bit smaller.
What is this?
What's
the content of this email?
Is this some of the history you were talking about?
Yes.
In terms of the individuals that are listed and the dates and things like that. For example, if you look here, the 199BIX. Can you explain or translate that?
1996. I took the S out with B because Slav is a derogatory term towards blood, so they take out S's as well. But yeah.
What?
In terms of some of the individuals that are listed on the next line.
Corey King,
Corey
Shaquille,
King,
Hitman,
Shaquille,
Pimp, and Rob
and
Lowe.
Rob Lowe. Are those some of the individuals that you talked about that have posted on YouTube?
Yeah, OG Corey King, he was the original Godfather head. He was one of the founders. There's a video of him in Tampa last year or the year before during the G-Shine National Gathering. He was president, showing live streaming for everyone, showing the
super creepy. The Rob Lowe.
There's members from all that says, but it was a G-Shine event.
That was ancient history, man. She was 16.
He's always G-Shine member, one of the original founders. He does a lot of videos online as well with Corey King, a lot separate, but some of the Corey King and some of these other names, Hitman, Pimp, and Rob Lowe, they're referenced.
My apologies.
They're referenced in these historical accounts from Corey King and Shaquille and some of the other blood leaders that aren't listed here because they're not members of G-Shine.
Okay. There's a word here, DAMU. What is that?
Damu, blood.
Is that something that you see throughout these records?
Yeah. The Damu, or they call themselves Olas, OLA. It's just a way for them to, it's like saying bro or dude. Damu, you're saying you're blood. And then Ola, I'm a blood. Any other blood would know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay. At the last line, 3 districts, there's 3 godfathers.
Mm-hmm.
Is that some of the hierarchy you were describing earlier, ladies and gentlemen of the jury?
That was, yeah, that's how the original G-Shine set was divided. It was divided to 3 temples. We call them temples. And each one of those had their own separate hierarchy.
Okay. And to continue on to the top of the next page where you said temples.
I don't know what.
Are on there.
That said, put in work, no snitching, no homo. I want to see that again. I really want to see that again.
No,
That's hilarious.
Sometimes the lineup.
No, it didn't say that.
Yes, it did. Yes,
Where?
it did. It totally said, put in work, no snitching, no homo. I swear. In all capital letters. Like a list of rules.
You're making me go back to this. I don't even want to. We've got a deadline in 45 minutes, and you're making me go back to see
Honest
this.
to God,
I know. I have to buffer.
I like what, whoever did that chat where they said something about like this guy just saw his BF, get shot or whatever. It's like, I don't think this guy's homosexual.
Yeah. Why is it taking so long to buffer? Come on.
I don't know.
There we go.
The original G-Shine set was divided. It was divided to 3 temples. We call them temples.
Where?
No, it's on the next page.
Each one of those had their own
Okay,
separate
pause
hierarchy.
it. See?
All right.
No snitching, no punking out, no homo.
Why are you making me do this?
I didn't ask. You didn't tell you to do it. I was just pointing it out.
You're making me do this.
I am not, Jeff.
I'm doing this again. Where are we looking at? The next page.
Mm-hmm.
And each one of those had their own separate.
Pause it. See?
Where are you looking?
No snitching, no punking out.
Where
no
are
homo.
you looking?
At the top.
Okay, no snitching, no flu wearing. What the hell does that even? Or yellow? I don't know. No dope, crack using weed is an exception. Oh, these are the gang rules. Okay.
But you see, it says no homo.
Yeah. Okay, these are the gang
You
rules.
skipped over it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's
and then
just obvious.
Go to law library, study 2 to 3 hours a day, read revolutionary books. What is this?
These are the gang rules. These are the rules for the gang.
Forget about homies who are incarcerated.
These are the bylaws for the gang.
This is fascinating.
We had them for the motorcycle club I was the president of back in the day, back in my youth. You have the bylaws you have to abide by. These are rather skeleton-esque. They're not fleshed out with any great amount of detail, but yeah. Oh, and for those of you who didn't know, yes, yours truly, Legal Vices, used to be the president of a motorcycle club.
Oh, I love it. That's fabulous.
Yeah, we should do like collections and things.
Anyways, those are some pretty interesting rules.
Yeah,
I'm
there we
starting to
go.
see how this guy's testimony is relevant. Like, he's saying some of the stuff that's on this page and whatever, but
But
still,
this
he shouldn't
email's
be
from
wearing a
like
mask.
3 years ago. Whatever.
Oh, whatever.
All right. Let's go.
Moving on. I made you do it.
To the top of the next page where you said temples are on there. That's over here.
Yeah, and it references the names of each individual set, so that's a common thing. Sometimes a lineup or a set will be named after.
I'm sorry, but studying 2 or 3 hours a day at the law library just makes you homo. So it's conflict.
Called the Hellraiser set. It's different
My
sets,
favorite
same
thing
names.
is that it says don't put
Yeah,
anything on paper that can incriminate you, and they wrote it in an email.
No, I've mentioned it before, and I still have my colors. I've got my cut hanging up in my closet, although we've disbanded.
So you can
Yeah, the Rotten
touch it and
Dead.
it will show.
Oh, I want to hear more about that sometime.
Yeah, so 9.5 Killer Shine. That one.
If you go back and watch the old videos of my stream, like from 16 years ago, the motorcycle videos, you've got the whole colors and everything going. That's from back in the motorcycle club days.
The 9807 phone number?
Yeah,
And
between the 9807 phone number and G-Shine numbers that were identified. Gino being Derek Dixon, Herc, or Q-Shine being Jaquan Burton, and the person they listed as their godfather being a subject named Stretch, who was identified as Keith Stevens.
Okay.
Yeah, Keith Stevens, his name is Stretch, and Stretch has been documented as in multiple federal indictments as the leader of the 9.5 Killer Shine.
The hospital videos right before the motorcycle club days.
so when
The
you're talking
videos
about
after that
calls and responses,
we're all the motorcycle club days.
you mentioned that the information will have kind of the translation.
That's pretty
Is that
badass.
what
You
we're
got in an
looking at here?
accident, you just got right back on and
This
kept
is right
writing.
here.
Oh, yeah.
This is a way of asking who you fall under.
Yeah, no.
And
I mean, basically, same thing,
And,
but ours were more
code
fleshed
NDA,
out.
so if they just wrote, if you find some ledgers or
It's a motorcycle
in the
blub.
jail where they write NDA, they're not talking about asking.
National Blood Association. What? They're like a
Maybe have
union now?
What they gave as the name to the ranking
General
system.
manager?
So GF is the godfather. They call him the general manager. And this is what I said. It changes from set to set because there might be a set that won't call it the general manager. They'll call him.
I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of interesting.
It's up to each set to do it, and it could change. It's not written in stone. The high is the next step under that.
The Sons of Kimchi.
Coach.
That's good. Nice one,
This is
Fedorovsky.
the low, the 5-star
No.
general, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star.
My club, which has since been
1-star
disbanded, was the Rotten
Okay.
Dead.
In terms of, is there then laws that are set out for the purposes of G-Shine?
Yeah, so the original laws were written for the UPN, G-Shine.
And for those of you that remember when one of my very best friends in life showed up on the screen one night and I was giving him up, he was my sergeant at arms when I was president.
So voted in by committee, you're putting in work.
Are you here, by the way, friend of mine? Are you watching us as we speak?
No punking out,
I summon you.
no backing down from a fight, basically. No homosexuality is very common in the game world.
Can you translate, you just made a comment about being blessed in. Can you just explain that? Because I don't think you've defined that yet.
So blessed in is when you didn't really put in any work and someone within the organization is just vouching for you. And just saying, hey, this guy's gonna be one of us. They bring you in, you don't get jumped in, you don't have to put in, you didn't put any work in, you didn't do anything. They just brought you in, they brought you home. That's terms that they would use. But the most commonly used term is blessed in.
Okay. I mean, some of them like no
punking out,
wearing or
what
yellow
does
back.
no flu wearing even mean? Cross out all C's and replace with
So there are
B's.
some things that even law
I looked it
enforcement
up. I
has
can't
to
find
decide.
anything on Urban Dictionary. I have no idea what it
I
is.
said that, I think earlier, that there's certain codes that just don't make any sense to me.
Respect
Certain
chain of
tattoos that don't
command.
make any sense. I just see them over and over and over again on the legs.
Never say anything to incriminate you in chat.
What it means.
Never forget about the homies who are incarcerated.
Number
Now,
11.
these are like
cross
taken
out all
straight
C's and
from
replace with B's, K's, or X's.
Recycle Club
Did you see evidence of that
bylaws
in the
that
phone
just
belonging
really
to the phone
skeletons
number
out.
772-713-9807?
Yes.
Was that in
This is
private
how I
communication?
joined Scientology.
Communications.
Oh.
And public posts that were posted from that phone.
Okay.
I don't know where the hell
And
the dogs
items
go.
number 16 and 17.
Guess the dogs just left.
Is that a
The
common
camera, they
rule
come
to
back.
basically don't admit anything?
This is what I was talking about, where the Bibles are
Come back.
held in secrecy, right?
Yoda,
So that's why
Strawberry,
it's
give the people what they paid for.
typically, you can't just find someone's email laying on the floor, right? That's not a thing. You can find documents laying on the floor, a search warrant.
I think they're going to try to, because they're using
Gmail or
exactly this language here. They're replacing the C's with B's.
Okay.
Like
The last one on
Cortland,
this page. Never take
the
another
driver,
person's
his
side
name is
over your
Portland,
phone.
so they replaced the C
What
with
is
a
a
B.
pony?
His
Always
mother
remember your
on his
set.
phone
Your
is
blood set.
it was Brazy Lady, not Crazy Lady. So they're using this to show that he has ties to the blood gang.
Within your organization, within your line, within your set.
Okay. Again, more of the logs 20 through 30. Okay. And number
wearing
27.
is wearing flashy clothes. How the hell do you know that?
No black on black crimes unless someone violates your set, code, and colors. They respect. That's like the biggest thing in the game world is respect. With every game, respect is. If you don't have respect, that's one of those things that could get you killed. And that's been documented over and over and over again.
Okay. And the next thing it says oath/red alert. What is that?
The oath, it's one of the most games have that create an oath. This will be one of those things that you have to memorize verbatim, and when you're being quizzed, you're going to be asked to recite these things. This is one of the things you'll be asked to recite. At some point, you'll be expected to memorize all these rules. At some point, you'll be expected to memorize all your creed. They call it levels, so levels of knowledge. And if you
Levels of knowledge.
If you assert that you're, let's say, at a certain level of knowledge, and
sounds
you
very
get tested,
Scientology-ish.
that level of knowledge, and you fail, then you're going to get violated. Now, if you say you're at a certain level of knowledge, and they test you, and you get quizzed, and you answer everything correct, and you're doing just fine.
Okay, so you had mentioned
You need the
that
correct
there
response
were
to
other
their
different
question, otherwise you get your ass
sections
beat.
and hoods. Are those some of the ones that you had previously mentioned? The 9 tray.
Yeah, so
All those?
the original founders of the UBN, OG Mac and Leonard and McKenzie, they created all these. Well, these gangs existed within the system, within the prison system. They just didn't have these names. Little by little,
It was definitely an OT Thetan
it happened
7.
in California, where the neighborhood gangs started
probably like a
joining the
1.
Bloods. They then changed their names for something that aligned with the Bloods. So these are the original sets. The dates, they're as accurate as I can tell based on not just interviews, but all the other documents that we've ever recovered have.
Sex, Money, Murder, birthed on July 6th. That's near June
These are things
6th.
that you'll almost never get wrong.
The
unless you
first
find a
15
Bible
hoods on the east side.
or jail
What is this list?
from a brand new member of.
Oh, the first 15 hoods on the east side is their birthday.
Trying to memorize this stuff is the easiest way to memorize stuff. Just write it down, especially if you're
5'9"
in jail.
Brim, you know, you gotta know when he was born.
In terms of it says greeting and reply. So those.
I saw birth and I thought that these were like babies born to bloods and bloodettes,
Yeah, right.
and I got
You could-
confused.
You won't even know you're being quizzed.
And these are just the challenges and responses to check if you're a real blood or not. So if someone says, if it ain't light, you have to respond with, it ain't
Okay,
right,
so going
or you
down
get your
from
fucking
the
ass
bottom of
beat.
the page where it says on there, rise and shine. What is the proper response if someone says rise and shine?
I shine, you shine, we shine, G shine. It's a very popular G shine saying.
Okay.
And it doesn't have to be exact.
Flux with a $2 super chat says, I'm so glad this is proving murder, right?
It'd be like variation of it. Like right there, I shine, you shine.
I mean,
not
it's
exactly
at least
like
it's
the other one.
interesting.
Okay.
But yeah, Flux, you're
And
right.
in terms of, it says these are meanings, not replies. So if someone says this, is this kind of more the dictionary part of it?
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't make sense. Like some of these dictionaries, it just the answers, or the definitions to the word to the codes is other codes. It's just unless you have the person in front of you that wrote that, you probably won't be able to decipher it.
I'm just scanning to see if there's any N bombs here that I need to be careful of.
Codes.
There's a lot of calls and
And
responses here,
reviewing these
Tom and
codes, are
Jerry.
they consistent with some of the
Look for
other
music. I ain't
gang
trying to
knowledge
hear
that's been
that.
recovered and that you have learned about?
Yeah, except for some of the
Ass
obviously some of the
naked
codes
means
are
no
different.
gun.
These codes are updated periodically. For the most part, a lot of these have continue to be used.
Okay. And so there's some of the terms you've already defined, like set tripping.
The hell is this?
1965 on that list.
I know what it
Is
is,
this
but that was a
something that they
rhetorical. What the hell
Continue
is
to
this?
evolve over the years?
The code?
Yes.
It could, if, big indictments come down and a lot of people, if a big indictment comes down, like the recently sex money murder got indicted, and
Chocolate Factory is a medium.
Arrested on that indictment. We have an active investigation where we know they completely restructured everything. They're restructuring their Bibles, they're restructuring their
This is their gang Bible.
all the rules.
Yeah, whatever. NWA.
It's how they
Fuck that dude.
evolve.
And so
After law
the
enforcement has gotten get to whatever is already on.
Better days means I'm.
and so on the
fucked
bottom
up.
of this it says G slang. What is that translated to?
Speaking codes.
This is so stupid.
And continuing on to the next page.
It's stupid, but
Do you
it's
have all of these
entertaining at
memorized?
least.
No.
Okay.
Is it?
A little,
I'm trusting you.
mildly, somewhat.
All the other games have the same thing going on.
I know it's better than just like
I'm just
listening to that
getting
guy turn
motion
on.
sickness watching this scrolling this paper everywhere.
Yeah.
So that's the end of the
Give me my
first
Motrin. I'm
email,
gonna
the forwarded email.
Who dat is food? What? What the fuck are we watching even? I'm sorry. Steve Gosney's here. What intercourse are we watching? Steve makes me want to be better. I love you, Steve. You're the best.
Oh, Steve, I love Steve too.
He is. He just makes everybody want to be better. Friend of Gaudi's means he's dead.
Somebody in chat said Chandler is learning the way of the hood. I remember, like, okay, in LA, if you
When
went
you
to
talk
school in
about-
like the early 2000s, like you couldn't wear bandanas, you couldn't wear anything like red or blue, otherwise it was like gang colors, you know, even in Beverly Hills. So
Yeah.
there was a whole
Yeah.
thing about that.
Yes, I mean that's just like Steve. How is this relevant? The only way I can think is they're saying, okay, this is what Bloods do. This is what he does. Therefore, he's part of the Bloods. Therefore, this murder was part of some sort of blood thing. I think that's where they're going with it. But whatever. I'm with you. I don't know. It's stupid. Yep, we are here. We're all caught up with chats and everything. So cool, duders. Let's keep rolling. We got 30 minutes, and then Chandler and I have a hard out. We might be able to do this.
About being promotions. Is that also discussed in this particular 15 raised document?
We can do this, Chandler.
Object to the manner which is
We might be a couple of minutes late for Eric, but he'll forgive us.
I think we can do it. I think we can totally do it.
Refer to the question, Counsel.
Detective, you talked about how people are promoted through the ranks.
Yes.
Is that reflected in this document?
Murder.
Yes.
No, it's just like the principles of the game.
Oh.
Specific things that meanings they gave to symbols that they have within the organization. So like the 5-point star.
Chandler strikes me as a real gangster.
They gave meaning to each point of that star.
Yeah, I'm a straight up G.
The crown, the 5-point crown.
Okay. Moving on to the titled 23 rules.
We're going Eric Huntley. We'll redirect everybody
This
over there. We'll raid him at the end.
So it's clear for the record, the second attachment on this email?
Yes. These are all rules you'd be.
In fact, I should set that up now.
Number 12, communicate with someone on the lineup. Is that the term you defined earlier?
Tapping in. Yeah. You need to make sure to report to your of your chain.
Okay.
I got your chain right here.
Moving on to the third attachment, what is this one called?
5 ways of making up. This is how acts and ways that you can move up within the ranks.
What the hell is
ways
this?
that you're expected to participate and do things for your organization with the gang.
Okay. In terms of going down to the bold names, so if you could read them out loud so it's clear for the record which particular document we're looking at.
No, number 1, physically. Physically, you already can type.
No, just the bold on that one. Number 2,
Mentally.
Number 3,
spiritually,
number 4,
economically,
and number 5.
socially.
Moving on to the next meaning of G-Shine. You had mentioned that sometimes there are specific colors that individuals are told to wear. Is that reflected in this document here that was found in the YNW Melly booking email?
Objection leading.
What does this say about the uniform or fashion statements?
It gives directions on the colors of the organization, what they mean, and as with other signs and symbols that they have, like the 5-point star, they gave each point of the star a specific meaning. They do the same thing with the colors.
Eric Hunley's stream looks pretty loaded tonight. Me, Chandler Remington, Good Logic, Runkle the Bailey, Ricada, and more. This is gonna be fun.
Oh, and MLS Law in his first appearance ever.
All right.
It's gonna be awesome.
The colors I already mentioned, red, green, and black.
I'm excited. Make fashion
This is so
statements.
stupid.
All armies obtain a uniform, make fashion statements. I love it.
Next page here, what is it titled?
Meaning of G-Shine Ascari.
How is this? I just don't get why we're doing this.
It's over fucking kill. It's just overkill.
I mean, it's not boring, but like, it's not relevant.
Yeah, it's just overkill. They can get it in an easier way. Trent Thorough with the $5 super chat says, "I didn't know death sentences was a gang Bible." Lol.
When you move up in the ranks, you're
like
you'll be
the
reassessed
lol.
by your higher ups, by your council.
Okay. Is there a specific uniform that you talked about that previously that's mentioned in this document?
Yeah,
Is over.
wearing brown and with a white t-shirt underneath, untucked. So it says it in there to signify that you're always ready for battle.
We Ascaris should wear much brown as possible with a white t-shirt underneath
email address that
untucked
we
to
had
send a
looked at
signal to all Ascaris
previously.
that the battle will be in damn it.
The Bang Bang Ascari.
That the battle
Is
will
that
be in
consistent
motion.
with what was said to be done in this last paragraph?
They need an editor for this shit.
And that's typical with the gang.
Wait, you untuck your shirt to signal that a battle is going to be in motion?
I don't fucking know, Chandler.
I'm just working with what I got on this screen.
Going on
It's
to
fascinating.
the next document in this. What is this titled?
I'm an anthropologist at heart. This guy is like studying, gangs from within, pretending to be one of them. I don't know how it works. I'm curious.
He's the wrong shade of black to pretend he's one of them.
How is he undercover with these people? Is my question. Like he's white
fucking know.
as snow. It
He's
makes
not-
no sense.
This is when they restructured.
I don't get it.
The
I
dead
really don't
rabbits
get
and
it.
bludgeoners at high noon.
And the snakes heads that popped up.
Has anybody asked that question yet? Like, how does he go undercover with these people when he's super white?
They need to restructure and change the rules.
Gangs in New York was a great
all people that they might think are cooperating with law enforcement or just people who aren't being true to the organization.
It's participant observation.
So this is talking about that basically.
There's a line that says it talks
I know
about
he said he
a
went to
memo.
undercover in biker gangs. We're
Is
just
that
having fun.
something you've seen in your training and experience that there are memos that are issued to update policy?
Yeah, anytime.
And actually, that's part of the reason why I don't believe his $50,000 bounty thing.
Usually,
Biker gangs won't take out a bounty. They'll just hunt you down and fucking kill you
They'll
themselves.
freeze everything, no movement, and
Trust
they'll
me,
reassess
I know.
what they have to do within the organization so that they can.
They won't hire someone else to do the job. They'll do the job.
Reorganize and move forward.
Okay. In terms of, you said the book.
Yes,
what are the
he
books?
did literally say he watched YouTube. Maybe he saw one of
To
mine.
turn to mean
Yeah.
related books like the ledgers where they would write the members' names. So when the books are closed, you're not going to put new members into the books. Most well-organized games will have a national ledger where all the sets will be outlined with all
This
the
is so
members and what
dumb.
ranks they currently hold.
Okay. And in terms of this last email here, an image, that's the close-up, or I'm sorry, the last image was a close-up of this email header. Who was this email sent to?
Isaiah Aberhart, he was identified as a subject named Goon on the phone.
Goon?
I forgot the phone number.
772-713-9807, that phone?
That phone.
Okay. And who was it sent to?
YNW Melly booking at Gmail.
So you mentioned a lot of the items in the phone that you've reviewed.
Yes.
We're gonna start out with.
It could be. Who knows? Well, that's what they alluded to in the opening statements was that these may have been gang-related hits. You know, whatever. We'll see what their dumb stories are.
Detectives, you recognize what's been labeled as states triple D.
Triple D. I'll just be happy with the
How do you
double. No,
recognize that?
never mind.
This is a extraction report from the cell phone ending in 9807. Messages between that phone number and the contact stated as GF stretch with the C crossed out using an X instead of a C.
And does this really accurately depict the conversation that is on that cell phone?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request from states triple D in.
They broke the nose.
Objection overruled. It'll be admitted.
So I believe it's stacks of money that are being referred to with Stack Chaser, but a lot of people are misconstruing it.
Phrasing.
And there is a double entendre there for sure.
A little bit.
Okay, detective, on this particular phone and this messages.
Rise
the
up.
term rise up and
Still,
beloved.
I
Is
rise.
that
My
something based on your
Angelou.
training and experience you can offer an opinion on?
Still, I rise.
Yeah, it's mentioned throughout.
Okay, sure, why not?
The term rise up.
You don't think she's quoting Maya Angelou
Term
here?
of endearment that they're using between each
I mean,
other.
unless there's another message down there that goes, I know why the caged bird sings. I don't think so, no.
It's a great book, by the way. It's fantastic.
It is. What about Rise Above?
So in terms
Like
of
that punk
Rise
anthem.
Above.
HURK on
I'm
this
up in
particular
Boolin
message, is that
Herc.
something
How
you've
about
seen
you?
before?
What?
And what is the
Coolin-
mean?
Herc
What?
is a term used by members of G-Shine to refer to each other. It's like calling each other bro or dude, same thing. Members of G-Shine call each other Herc. That's one of the terms.
Is that from Herc from The Shield?
And on the December 1st,
How about a
2018,
cowbag chaser?
this particular message, is there another term that would
Oh, that's
indicate
good.
G-Shine affiliation?
The rank designation is Scary. He's addressing the person receiving that message as an Ascari.
Okay.
He's not just saying the word Ascari.
Understood. In terms of the last
We're never
message
racist
here
on the panel.
that looks like December 29th of 2018. You could read that one aloud, please, and I can make it bigger.
You have many other hoods that have productive aspects in motion, and it's time for us to put a form of some businesses into existence so you can grow as a family. We are already established financially, so we want to combine with you in the form of growth and development.
This is 2 months
do it
after the
customer
murders.
centric.
What the hell does this have to do with anything? This is 3 months after now.
Going on to January 27th.
That's
of
3 months
2019.
after the murders. What does this have to do with the murders?
11.
Yes.
You mean bow bag?
Then it says line up some venues. Detective Fuller, I want to ask you, if someone is a member in any sort of music group,
Yes.
why would they be talking about venues with someone who is identified as a godfather?
Because they would need to get
Sustained.
So Detective Fuller, I'm going to back up and go into your training and education and experience on areas of control by specific areas.
Look at me,
and
I'm
where
Geordie
the blood
LaForge.
came. Apparently.
Sorry, that's how bored
Yeah,
I
you
am. I
mentioned
just
that there are
went Deep
different
Space Nine
sets.
here.
Wait,
I'm
why
Star
are you
Trek Next
referencing
Generation.
Geordie LaForge?
In terms
I don't know. I just
of
bored, so I just thought.
Oh!
you know,
I didn't see
you know,
that.
I just,
and
I'm
various
sorry. It's
businesses
just,
within that neighborhood.
it's just my ADHD.
Jeff,
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
best
you're
man.
blind.
As
You've lost
to
your eyesight.
how
No, I'm so.
Access to those businesses.
Sorry, I was
are-
bored. My ADHD got the best of
So
me.
if
I went
you're
all
in a
Star
neighborhood
Trek:
that
The
is
Next Generation.
predominantly controlled by a specific gang, whether it be Bloods, Crips,
No
whatever,
excuse. It's just my brain
And
doing what it does.
you are trying to go to that neighborhood, you need to have almost like an approval to be there. If not, you might, if you're in the wrong neighborhood, you might get approached, and the repercussions could be different for every person. But the point is, you'll probably get confronted.
So I want to move on to some of the other messages.
Yes,
that
Deep,
you've gone
Deep
through.
Space Nine is fantastic. It's worth it.
States triple W, which was previously provided to Defense Counsel.
Green screen.
I'm showing you states triple W. Prior to coming to court today, do you have an opportunity to review this document?
Yes.
Does that document contain and accurately depict 5 different chat conversations between the
I don't know what that means.
9807 phone number and some of the individuals you talked about previously.
In the bat.
Perk. Jaquan
Gal
Burton.
Ducat did nothing wrong.
This is not in a position to attest to whether that accurately reflects.
See, that's funny.
between two people, and it's not a part of it.
Because you know how
Does that
spurgy
accurately
I
reflect
am.
Conversations that were captured on the 9807 cell phone extraction.
Yes.
In terms of, is there any additions or deletions from the cell phone extraction?
I don't believe so. I didn't see any in red. Usually when.
Oh, I guess never mind.
Do they fairly and accurately depict the conversations on the 9807 cell phone?
Yes.
Here at this time, the state would request to states W in and published in jury.
I object to your improper foundation, insufficient foundation.
Judge, overruled, it'll be admitted.
States W.
States W are states 70.
So Detective, I'm gonna go through and start with some of the pictures that are in this exhibit. Okay.
Reference the pages as you go if you don't.
Will do. So starting and going on, which is labeled as page 6, and this is a conversation that starts out with an individual named Foley and the 9807 cell phone number. Are there pictures that are sent back and forth between these individuals?
Yes.
So, and with Your Honor's permission.
Well, Ducat did nothing wrong.
Pull up the pictures from the digital version.
Hey, Steve. Check you out later. Love you, brother. Valhalla. Hey, what's up, Goat Man?
Hey, Val.
All right, we've got 20 minutes, slightly under 20. Oh, this is gonna be. We're gonna be cutting it close. We got this. We got it.
So the record's clear, counsel. What's the exhibit number?
This is still the same
We got
exhibit. This is just the digital copy so that we can access the photos.
Exhibit 702.
Yes.
Sebastian Muller just gifted another 10 Legal Vices
So in
memberships.
terms of the images
What the fuck is that
were
picture?
sent, were you made
All right.
familiar with?
I don't know, but
levitating.
that guy's hair is amazing.
Can you point him out in this particular photograph?
His name is Gul Masset.
I'm sorry, it's no longer a touch screen on that. I believe, 'cause it's
Gifted
now
10.
this-
Anyway, Sebastian Muller, if you got one of
It's-
10 Legal Vices memberships from Sebastian Muller, give him a special super thanks.
But you don't may the record reflect that the state.
His name is
wanted to
Gul
be
Masset.
identified by the person to whom the state.
Right. Okay.
So let's go to a different one.
I believe I can
Do you see the defendant
fly.
Janelle Devens in this photo?
Can I stand over one?
Wait, isn't that the witness? Isn't this the witness here?
In terms of the
Looks
hand
like
gestures or
it.
signals that he is making. Is
He
that
totally
anything
looks
you
like
can comment on
this
with your
dude here in the upper
expertise?
right corner looks exactly like the
Sorry,
witness.
sorry.
Oh God,
Tell me
juror
that's
number
not him.
juror number
Tell me
whatever is
that's not
having
the
another
witness.
panic attack. This isn't going to be good for
Yeah.
her. Shit.
Tell me that's not the
That's
witness
Gio.
in the upper right
Sorry.
corner. It looks just like him. Oh, not you. Him.
And so you first said the east side.
It's like
one,
him,
does he have
totally.
his left hand or right hand?
Sorry, chat. Sorry.
I don't know if the pictures. East side's being pointed forward.
Okay.
And then the other hand is kind of crooked, so I can't tell if you're another east side or he's doing this, which is a blood canceling.
Exactly, right? What the fuck?
Those are both from page 6. That's
Okay,
page
now
70.
this is from the day before the murder. Okay. All right. Now we're like 2 months after. What the hell is going on here?
Going now to page 14.
Page 14. This is a
Indicated
month.
that
This
some
is
of the
5 weeks
emails
before
were
the murder.
identified as a specific individual. Who was that?
Derek Dixon in the emails was identified
Daryl
as
Dixon.
Gino, and Gino, this phone number was
Walking
identified as
Dead.
Derek Dixon, one same person.
In terms of the messages here on page 14 of State 70. The first message on September 16th of 2018. What does that say?
I'm sorry, say that again, Christian?
The first
This
one?
one, oh, Gino locked me into left, and then took out the seat with X.
Okay. Then the next
There
message, the response
are
from the
4
9807
lights.
phone number.
Nice.
What is that?
Oh my god, my favorite ever. We referenced that on an OJ episode.
Okay. Down to the next
There are
one
4 spots.
from the number that's identified as Gino.
The Kardashians.
And what message does that say?
Me and the Godfather, the GF, talked about you till we come into your show in Orlando.
Okay. Moving on to page 15.
Oh, you know I got to clip this. Damn it.
In this second message here on page 15, what are we looking at? The 050 means on point. Can you translate that, please?
Gino's, the subject saved as Gino is explaining what the code means so that the recipient doesn't mess up when the Godfather questions him and says it down below. Just if you think the Godfather might hit you with, I'm making sure you're on point. So it's saying 050 means on point, DL means I got you, and he proceeds to give other definitions. SL means greetings and responses are rise and shine, I shine, you shine. Rise up and bop, and shine right, shine bright, my shine, time and gold. So these are all things that were written in that original document we went over.
And that original document, in terms of the date on that, do you recall for the sent date?
September something. September 16th, 2018.
September 16th. So in some of the responses from the 9807, again, that term perp.
Again, it's just a term used between members of G-Shine. He's just responding, recognizing, just using G-Shine terms.
Okay.
If any of you are wondering what the reference is.
Continuing on through the month of September on page 16.
That'll never not
in
be
terms
funny.
of the message here from the 9807. Okay, clear so we can see. What does it say there?
Just checking in. The C is taken out.
Just becking in.
And can you explain what, or translate the September 21st, 2018, 11:26 p.m. message from Gino?
Just asking if he's all right. Everything's good. He responds, everything's good. 050.
Can you explain what is a square?
It's reference to
Page 19.
Dun, 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 dun.
Square
It's
is
hip to be square.
narcotic slang for typically a kilogram of any type of narcotics, cocaine, heroin, whatever.
It's a kilo of narcotics.
What's the objection?
404B, 403.
Motion side.
My favorite episode is the metaphor, the Darmok and Jalad at Tanagra episode. All right, we get to skip some sidebar here. Save us some time. Law and Crime, stop it. Cut the audio, Law and Crime.
In narcotics.
Wow, that
and
was annoying.
investigation. What is a square?
Square is in reference to a kilogram of any type of narcotic that is sold in kilograms. Because it's shaped like a square.
Shock out when the walls fell.
So
Exactly. That's one of my favorites.
I want to talk now on page 21. On September 23rd, 2018, 6:25 p.m. Can you read those two?
I love you, waifu. I'm just so sad you
messages
didn't invite me to
and
your
then help
stream.
to
I'm sad.
Assist in the understanding of what they mean. 20.
She didn't invite you to game night?
Nope.
The guy is who he moves through on that.
I'm not worthy.
He got the Skittles.
Waifu?
Yes, please.
Really?
He got the Skittles. He got the
Know
notion.
what he wants for a hook and
Man,
a
boy
purse.
can play.
Okay. And can you
Oh, you
explain
should have been
the Skittles in
included.
that message?
So
Boo-hoo.
that language has evolved the Skittles because right now Skittles are something completely different. Back then it was
Well, she says she invited you.
Nope.
talking about
She says she has the receipts.
ecstasy pills and MDMA pills.
I don't know who to believe.
Ecstasy.
And in terms of looking in context, the message before that, on September 23rd, 2018, 6:23 p.m., with what is a Z?
A Z is short for a zip. A zip is slang for an ounce.
$7,200 for an ounce of anything? What the fuck?
So going on to
What is
page
it?
22.
It's not even gold. Gold is not even that much.
There's a different phone number that's listed on there.
I don't believe that. There
Tell
is
him to
nothing.
call.
There is no narcotic on the street that is selling for $7,200 an ounce.
And what phone
None.
number is
Zero.
listed there?
954-376-9158.
Okay. The next message, if you could read that one on September 23rd, 2018, 9:58 p.m.
He got it. Yeah, heard his name, image. He's very important. He's going to give you some, baby. He's over the whole South Carolina.
When you talked about earlier about areas of influence, is that what you meant?
Yeah, so especially with the lineups that cross state boundaries, you would need to know where your higher ups are reporting from. Because if you say I report to Stretch, you're going to say Stretch, especially if they're not part of your lineup. You say I report to Stretch out of South Carolina, and they can double check you and reach out to their contacts in South Carolina, make sure that Stretch is a real person.
Okay. Continuing on to September 25th, 2018. Another message from on page 23 for Defense Counsel.
Thank you.
Is this again referring to the same image name from the previous?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what the baby is?
Only the break.
Okay.
Small like baby.
And the response?
Haven't heard from him 20.
So then moving on
So
further
this is
down
a drug deal.
that page on 10:08 p.m. What does Gino ask?
The number identified as United States. DL, did you get your date for the Savannah State show?
And the DL, what does that mean?
Do you get? Like, I'm sorry.
The DL, does that have a specific connotation or meaning?
Yeah, I'm drawing blank right now. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's been a long day. We'll come back to it. So with regards to the next line on that, what does that one read?
Yo, the GF Godfather gonna call you, take out the CD, call you today, make sure you're on point.
And the response was?
Everything's good.
So I want to go then again to the digital version to reference this picture here. So Gino sent, the number identified as Gino ending in 4281 sends an image, and this is on page 24 for counsel.
Can I talk over this, or?
Okay.
Jeff, you were totally invited. I'm looking at the receipts right now.
I'm not. Show me.
Okay.
Copy it. The last thing I got from Surly Durley's account was in May 18th.
The illegal vices.
Oh, she emailed it?
No, she tagged you on Twitter in the post. See, you're right there. The legal vices.
Don't just copy and send it to me in private chat.
Okay.
Message, anything. Can you translate as to what it's talking about?
So it's a picture of
And that's not the link. I don't have a link.
She tagged you on Twitter. I will send it to you.
The phone, right? Did you ever skyline with him? So
I haven't gotten a link yet either.
He's dying to talk to you. Melly, that is. And then he says he's gonna have to hit him up today.
So what? I didn't hear it.
He's gonna have to hit him up today.
So then moving on to the DL line, what?
Tell him to be expecting him.
Okay, and then the next response.
Want you to groom him, show them the meaning of the chain of command, safety and security, show dudes something different.
And the response?
I got you. I just know that by him talking to you.
Object to the hearsay. This is an image of a conversation between two other people.
Why don't you come for a second?
All right, well, while they're doing the sidebar, Brian Alleman, $20 super chat. Thank you so much. This all sounds like stuff my freshman roommate had to memorize when they joined a frat. Exactly. No, that is exactly what it is. All clubs, gangs, motorcycle clubs, whatever, they're just frats. You have to memorize stupid shit, rules, bylaws, etc., etc. What do you mean no sound? I hear lots of sound, Court. I hear nothing but sound. Wait, this is it. We're done.
Oh, we're done?
They do not come back from this.
With 4 minutes to spare. Good for us.
Yeah, we don't come back from this. Oh, hang on.
Recess. But why?
Here we go.
We're going to take a short recess. But why this is still up here, the attorneys are advising me, or excuse me, I'm being advising you that this is a conversation between the two parties. It's not being offered for the truth of the matter asserted in the conversation. It's being offered to show the effect on the listener. All right? That's the purpose of it. So we're going to pick it up in a minute. Right now, I need to take a short restroom break. So we're be in recess. We're not discussing the case. Don't form any opinion about the case. We're not able to discuss the case. Thank you.
And they literally never came back from this. So we are done, folks. We are done ass for the done ass day. And now, this is just me. You know, I'm just, you know, what am I? I'm just an unfrozen caveman lawyer. But it's not looking good for Melly at this point.
No, it is not. It's starting to look a little grim.
It's looking a little darker than it was yesterday, but we'll just have to see how this goes. Right now, we're going to go over to, when we wrap this up, we're going to go over to Eric Hunley's Friday stream. I'll be there. Chandler Remington will be there. Good Logic will be there. Apparently, Ricade is going to be there. It's going to be a big group of people. And then in the morning, Aussie Overlord is doing a 24-hour stream. Do not miss that. Go over to Aussie Overlord and check him out. That's going to be fun.
I believe it starts at 5 p.m. Eastern time today.
Yeah. And then later at some point, Jess Waifu Kron, Surly Durley on Tweet is going to be doing a game night of some sort. She said I was invited, but I was clearly not invited.
Yes, you were. I sent you the link.
Yeah, the link.
I sent you the link.
Okay. Guys, we have the chat has to decide here.
You were totally invited.
Tell me this. This is it here. You two always have, legal vices. You two always have a standing invite. Saying you have a standing invite, is that the same as inviting you? Is that an invitation? Well, now, if I'm invited, am I anywhere on this picture? Is my picture anywhere here?
No,
is
because
this
you didn't.
Invitation?
Because you didn't confirm, Jeff. You did not confirm that you would be coming. You had to say yes. I'm going to come.
No, I wasn't invited.
My God.
Anyway, all right, whatever. But I'll be camping anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's all moot. I won't be here anyway.
You're not going to be here? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. That is absurd. Totally
all right, anyway,
absurd.
Everybody, we've just finished this up. We are going to start this again on Monday. We'll do a Maritime Monday for about an hour where we're going to be talking about the Titan submersible, that accident. And then after that, we will go right into Monday morning's testimony. Until then, everybody, I'm going to go camping for this weekend. I'm just going to cook some big old. I'm going to put my hands all over a big slab of man meat and throw it on the grill. 3 pounds of man meat.
Enjoy
big
your man
tomahawk
meat.
steak with some whiskey and cigars and pipes. And I'm just going to have a personal old time up in the. Well, not up in the mountains, on the shore, like in a little forest right next to the ocean. It's going to be great. Everybody go to Behandler Remington at Remy_legal. Subscribe to her channel. Like everything you've done. Like me. Subscribe to me. Everybody do it. Right now we got to go over. We're 1 minute away from Eric Hunley, so you should be automatically searched over there. If you're not automatically sent over there, please search for Eric Hunley or whatever the hell his stream is. What is it?
Laid Back News. Laid Back News.
Search for Laid Back News. All right, we got to wrap this up real quick. Thank you, mods. Thank you, chatters. The Vice Squad chat is the best. Thank you for all the generosity. And we'll see you back here on Monday. Gotta run. Bye, everybody. Love y'all. Oh, we're good. Bye.